This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
Happy Friday, gang, and welcome to a packed edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Huss and Reem with you for the next couple hours plus. Marbles a little later on. And, oh, man, we've got a lot to talk about. A huge win for the Winnipeg Jets last night in Denver, beating the first-place Avalanche and moving to within 2 points of first place in the Central. We'll break that one down, and here's some great post-game reaction from the club coming up in just the next couple of minutes. And then we'll dive into the last week plus and look ahead to the rest of the road trip with Kenny Wiebe, who was just out swinging on with Dennis Bayak down in Arizona. Looking forward to having Ken join us coming up a little later on. And then the second half of the program, we will pivot to the story that is gripping anybody with a pulse that is connected at all to the Toronto Blue Jays, or frankly just Canadian sports, because the reports are coming in. J.P. Hornstra with Dodgers Nation reporting that the choice is in, and Shohei Ohtani is signing with the Toronto Blue Jays. There's a plane in the air. I'm sure we'll have some fun with the flight tracker. But there you have it. Ohtani to sign with Toronto Blue Jays over Los Angeles Dodgers. And these are sources coming from the Dodgers right now. So this could be a historic day with the biggest signing in Canadian sports history, period. And I don't really think it's even close. So we've got to get Fienberg on. And to think that John Rahm officially went to live yesterday, and we might not even touch on that, just tells you how big of a story this is for Toronto, the Blue Jays, and really Canada overall. And then, of course, it's Hacksaw time. We got lots to talk about in the National Football League, and Hacksaw down in Southern California. He'll be all over this story as well. Cannot wait to hear how this is going over with these reports coming out now down in Southern California. So Jets, Ohtani, a little NFL. Buckle up. It's going to be a heck of a fun one. And, of course, we'll finish it off with a marble race later on today on WST. Just before we bring in Michael Remis, shout out to everyone that popped by Boston Pizza last night to hang out with the Illegal Curve crew. Remis and I popped in. Great to see everyone. Great couple days. And as they say, the vibes are high coming off that big win last night. But shout out to Boston Pizza, Royal Sports, the Winnipeg Jets, Little Brown Jug, Princess Auto, Nick and Nicky DQ Group, F Apparel, Wallace & Wallace, Vita Health Fresh Market, Canadian Club, Manitoba Battery, Aquatech, and our friends at Modern Man Barbershop. And plenty of options for today's Why Not question of the day for Not Autocorp over at Waverly and McGillivray. Remis, get in here. We got lots to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, man. A big Jets win last night, but everyone in our chat about these Shohei Ohtani rumors, JP Hornstra of DodgersNation.com. I believe he used to do the LA Times. I remember he was a guest back in the H&L days talking LA Kings. So he's a reputable Big J journalist. And we had the link up, and I did see some of the Sportsnet guys saying, whoa, the deal's not done. It does bring back some memories before of previous, big deals being done and reported on. But hey, we're pumped here. Friday, we'll see the news as it comes in. We're tracking, this flight, this private jet from Anaheim to Toronto.
Yeah, let's get do you have the flight tracker there?
Okay, this has been tweeted out. Shout out to BA Split listener who, a longtime listener viewer who sent this over. This is what we're doing here. The flight tracker. It says landing in 2 hours and 30 minutes from Santa Ana, California to Toronto. It's supposed to take off at 9 Central Time. Sorry, 9 Pacific, and then got delayed to 9:40 Pacific, and there it is. It's over whatever state. I get mixed up in the states, but it's over there.
So they're right now, I think
what state is that?
In...
What is that, Nevada, Utah? I don't know.
That, I think, is Kansas.
Kansas?
He's over Kansas right now. Kansas City is right there where Missouri and Kansas meet. He did a quick stop over Nevada. Wait a second. That's Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona. Well, we'll fail geography right here for trying to pick out all of these states right now. What's important is the cargo on that plane. And, of course, there was a report earlier today that my guy, Yusei Kikuchi, has rented out a restaurant for a gathering tonight of around 50 people close to the Rogers Center. And it was interesting to me that Kikuchi is even in Toronto right now, Reem, to be perfectly honest. And I know I'm a big Kikuchi guy. Follow his lovely wife on Twitter, who does lots of interesting Instagram lives and whatnot. There was speculation that this was a surprise party or a birthday party for her. No, Rumi's born on June 24th. So it is not a birthday party for Yusei Kikuchi's wife. And I think as time goes by, more and more looks like this is going to be a celebration welcoming Shohei Ohtani north of the border as the biggest fish in baseball free agency history, and what could be a franchise-defining and changing moment for the Toronto Blue Jays. So Fienberg coming up a little later on. He's got some interesting insider information as well on what's going on at Blue Jays HQ today. So buckle up for that. We'll stay on top of it. As there's more reports that come out over the course of the next little while, we will certainly get to it. But let's not bury the lead for Winnipeg sports fans right now, Remo. A big, big win last night. I saw Ezzy in the chat thanking everyone that came out. Man, that was a lot of fun to, back-to-back it. A great night at Little Brown Jug, and many familiar faces down watching the game last night at BP as the IC guys did their thing, and the Winnipeg Jets did their thing. 4-2 in Denver against the first place Avalanche. A great team win. Connor Hellebuck was great. Pretty much all the lines contributing, although a very slow night for the Cole Perfetti line, and Rick Bowness talked about that afterwards. But, man, when you're getting plays like Axel Jonsson-Fjallby going all out to set up Adam Lowry late in the first period, Kyle Connor scoring that beauty early on, which started off with a brilliant play by Josh Morrissey, who had a monster game. Morrissey scoring as well, and Connor Hellebuck being his usual brilliant self. This team's capable of beating a lot of teams, including the likes of the Avalanche on the road.
Yeah, what a win. That was a convincing win for the Jets, and contributions up and down the lineup. Penalty kill, which hadn't been great this season, came up huge, killing a big 5-on-3, going a perfect 4-for-4. Absolutely incredible work from them. And yeah, Connor Hellebuck standing on his head. And, kind of felt things were breaking the right way at the end of the first period when it was like 2 seconds left. Axel dumps it in, goes for a forecheck. And it was just a great play with his stick to knock the puck down and get it back and quickly give it to Adam Lowry, who wired it home. And, usually it's like I have memories of those type of goals being scored against the Jets, those back-breaking goals. Just when you think you're going to get out of a period, the other team scores. And that was a big momentum changer. And then Kyle Connor with the fadeaway snipe after Mark Scheifele.
That's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, Mark Scheifele, channeling his Mario Lemieux from the Salt Lake City, just putting his stick there, but letting the puck go. Maybe not the same play, but reminded me of that, letting it go to Ehlers to Connor. So you got some contributions from the big guns, but also that fourth line. I mean, I don't go to the buffet here. Look at the minutes. Axel, 11 minutes, 11 seconds. Don't see that too often. David Gustafson, you and Ken probably going to be talking about the Gus Bus, 13:03.
The Gus Bus will certainly be recognized.
Yeah. I mean, Gus played more minutes than Gabe Balharry and IFLs. You mentioned the Jets. This Jets team. We've been calling the Lowry line the third line, but I don't know. Does this team? I think this team's got a top line, and then the rest. At least last night they did.
I don't think there's any doubt that the Lowry line is number 2 for the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, they get the toughest matchups. They will always play a lot. And then, you mix in a little bit of offense, which they have had, quite often, frankly, throughout this first, 25, 26 games of the season. I mean, they really can be impactful. I mean, 3 lines were really rolling. As Rick Bowness, and we'll hear from Bones in a minute, said, Cole's line was pretty much in their own end all night. And that was a bit of a concern, but listen, not always do you have, each and every one of your lines having that sort of success, especially against a team like Colorado. So a number of other guys stepped up. Josh Morrissey, maybe his best game of the season. Certainly, I think he was on for all 4 goals again, for goals 4, not on for any of them against, a goal and an assist. He ends up scoring the winner. He was absolutely brilliant last night. But yeah, I mean, the ice time really well distributed throughout the lineup. The forward with the most ice time was Kyle Connor at 2010. Mark Scheifele just under 18 minutes. Nikolai Ehlers just under 16 minutes. But then you look at Appleton, 16:30. Morgan Barron, 12:13. Gus was 13. Iafallo was 10 for the lowest of any of the forwards. Axel was 11:11. Lowry 15. Niederreiter 14. Perfetti 12:39. I mean, this was that's a team that's basically rolling 4 lines. And Rick Bowness was very, very pleased after the game on the performance of just about everyone, and mentioned what we've talked before about the Winnipeg Jets going up against some teams in Vegas this year and in Dallas, 0-4 head-to-head against those 2 teams. They've played them very well at 5-on-5. Special teams had often been a bit of an issue. Last night, to me, Remo, the special teams was the difference for the Winnipeg Jets in the PK, and especially that 5-on-3 kill for about 45 seconds. I think undoubtedly the biggest part of the game.
It's kind of funny. You think about Jets' other games against teams ahead of them in the standings, and you think of the Dallas game where it was the Jets who had not 1 but 2 5-on-3s, and they couldn't capitalize. And well done by the Jets last night, stopping Colorado on their own on their 5-on-3. So the penalty kill took some lumps, I think, early in the season, but Hellebuck, he seems to be on a roll here, finding his groove. 32 of 34, nice 9.41 save percentage. Penalty kill going well. I mean, the power play didn't score. They went 0 for 1, but hey, 3 even strength goals plus an empty netter. Nice tidy start to the road trip there for the Winnipeg Jets, where you having 2 pretty winnable games against San Jose and Anaheim, and LA, who's been very good. That's another one on this road trip, but great start. Nice performance last night for the Jets, and seemed to be rolling. There were concerns they hadn't scored more than 2 in a bunch, but there they were. A breakout performance for the offense, all on even strength.
Yeah, I mean, listen, just a great win. And before we go to the locker room afterwards and hear from Bones and a couple of the other players, let's just take a quick look at what's going on at the top of the Central Division. The Colorado Avalanche are still in first place with 34 points, but have played 26 games. The Dallas Stars beat the Caps last night, so they stay 1 point ahead of the Winnipeg Jets. They've got 33 points in 25 games, and they're the Jets. Now winners of 3 straight after that 3-game losing streak. Jets 32 points in 25 games, 1 back of Dallas, 2 back of Colorado, going into Anaheim on Sunday night, then San Jose, and then LA to finish off this road trip with 3 and 4 beginning on Sunday. What a difference a week makes, Reem, because it was a week ago that we were coming off the sort of stunning turnaround late in the third period where Edmonton came back to beat the Winnipeg Jets, talking about the first 3-game losing streak of the season. Well, 1 week later, another 3-game winning streak, and the Jets are right back knocking on the door of Dallas and Colorado at the top of the division.
It is kind of funny, yeah. Like last week, we're like, oh no, the Jets, what they lost to Dallas, wasn't going so well for them. But here they are, following up a 3-game losing streak with a 3-game winning streak, and definitely chances to extend that winning streak here as you play Anaheim on Sunday, then San Jose. We'll see how the goalies stack up for that, but what was the end of November? Lost to Nashville, lost to Dallas, and that heartbreaking loss to Edmonton. We were all there for a WST night at Canada Life Center. But again, 3 in a row. Team's looking strong. 640 win percentage, plus 13 goal differential. We know this team is pretty good. Lots to like. But as we enter January, we're going to see how if they can maintain this level of play for the second half, because we're starting to get, as the calendar changes, we're starting to get flashbacks to last January. And I know they're different teams, but hard not to have similar questions like that, Huss.
Yeah, no kidding. Listen, those questions will still be out there. Once the team gets to that point and, goes through, and there's going to be more down weeks than, there'll be up weeks. But I think we've seen that this is a very different team. Connor Hellebuck was asked by Mike McIntyre about, a couple things that had happened in the past. And he was like, what? But last seasons ago? Like, wait, talking about the now. And they are all in on the present right now and feeling it in a good spot. Listen, I know Logan Stanley's a polarizing player. And he did end up on the wrong end of the highlight reel, although I'm not too sure how many defensemen in the NHL would not have been in a situation when you're basically standing still and all of a sudden Nate McKinnon is coming in full blast. I mean, that was a big, big goal for Colorado to get them back into the game. But overall, a pretty darn strong game for Big Stan, who I have to say has taken advantage of this opportunity to get back into the lineup and sort of remind the coaching staff, or show the coaching staff, maybe he hadn't done that as much in the past, that he can be an option for this club. And man, we've always talked about, having that sort of level of competition on a roster and what in a best case scenario it brings out. I think Declan Chisholm's been very good. Nate Schmidt's been strong this season. Stanley making a stake right now. And then of course, Ville Heinola. So we'll talk about that defense situation with Ken when he comes on, coming up in about 10 or 15 minutes. But let's get to the room afterwards. We'll start off with head coach Rick Bowness. Bones pretty happy about the performance of his club. Here's the head coach on last night's win in Denver.
Yeah, that was a great effort. It really was. Our penalty killers did a huge job for us in the third period. When we needed the big save from Helly, we got it. But Mark's line is playing fantastic. Adam's line did a great job. Our fourth line did a fantastic job tonight. They had a few more minutes because they deserved them. They were out there, and you saw the great play Axel made on their first goal. So it was a great effort. That's a great hockey team over there. But, if we want to, and we talked about it this morning, we want to be considered an elite team. You got to beat the teams ahead of you, and we proved tonight that we can play with anybody.
That was something that we heard from Adam Lowry and Connor Hellebuck afterwards, and certainly right from the coach. That was, we were talking yesterday, do we get the litmus test out? Is it a measuring stick game? It was all of the above. And, they hadn't fared well against Vegas or Dallas up till this point, but overall had earned the points and put themselves in a good spot. That was one of the biggest tests they'll have of the season, to go into Denver against an Avalanche team with Makar back and McKinnon back, and they got the win. And listen, we mentioned that, Bones did say that, the one line that didn't have a lot of success last night was Perfetti, Velarde, and Iafallo, and that showed a little bit with the ice time. But that fourth line was playing so well. Axel, we mentioned that huge play to set up Adam Lowry right at the end of the first period. But they were out there in the third period, and they deserved to be. Here's what Bones had to say about the fourth line.
I had them out there because they deserved to be out there, and they had a solid first period. And it was too bad we got caught on the icing, but beat huge face-off, a great change. That's how you want to change when you win that draw. You get it out, it's a good change. But we wanted to put a lot of pressure on their D, and Axel got up ice in a hurry. He had a great stick, and obviously forced the turnover. So that line deserved the minutes they got tonight.
All right, so Bones with some real praise for Morgan Barron, the Gus Bus, and Axel Jonsson-Fjallby. One more from Bones on the play of Logan Stanley, who, as I mentioned, had one of his best games, certainly a first period. He looked as good as he has maybe at any point. Did get burned by McKinnon, but here's what the head coach had to say about the big guy on the back end.
Logan had a really solid game. Listen, he was at the end of a shift, and all of a sudden he got Nate McKinnon coming 100 miles an hour. He's going to do that to any defenseman in this league. So it's not Logan Stanley. It's any defenseman in this league would have got flat-footed. He's an elite player with elite speed, and he took advantage of it. So good on him. He made a great play.
All right, so there's Bones. Pretty pleased with the squad after a big win in Denver last night, and I'm sure they're down now somewhere in Anaheim, a little bit of a day off, probably get a little bit of practice tomorrow, and then get ready for 3 big games in 4 nights, beginning with Sunday night's tilt at the Duck Pond against the Anaheim Ducks. Connor Hellebuck is rolling right now. He's making saves. His numbers continue to improve game after game, and it seems like the Jets' Vezina Trophy winning goaltender is having a lot of fun right now playing behind this group.
I think right now hockey's fun. Less practice, more games. The way we're playing, let's just keep it rolling and less thinking and more just playing.
Right. What did you see tonight? I know I think they finished with 34 shots, but did you feel like you had a good look at the majority of them?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we're playing phenomenal in front of me. I think the second one's goal interference. The guy comes through my skate, and I don't think I ever let that goal in if the guy doesn't do that, but we might have taken him down. I know I was pretty furious at the moment, but I thought we played pretty good other than that.
All right, there's Connor Hellebuck with the uber confidence that he always exudes, but especially when this team is winning, and he mentioned how much fun it is being a Winnipeg Jet right now. Huge part of the game, as we mentioned right off the top, the contributions of the penalty kill, and a massive 5-on-3 for about 40-45 seconds that the Jets were able to kill, as well as the rest of the second 2-minute player. Here's what Helly had to say about the penalty kill last night.
You know, we were battling hard. Guys in shot lanes, clearing rebounds, letting me see pucks. For the most part, our BK is where it's at, just because a few bad bounces here and there. And the difference in this league is so minuscule that a couple good games like that and we'll be right back where we expected.
All right, so very pleased with the PK, as was Rick Bowness after the game. Now, this was really interesting, an exchange, and shout out to Mike McIntyre and the Free Press. I mean, so important to have one of our guys down there in the room afterwards, getting this great content for fans and people following the Winnipeg Jets. But, you know, Mike was asking about that position in the game. And let's face it, in the past, there's been some leads that have evaporated quickly against the Colorado Avalanche. And what is so interesting about this back and forth is how when things are going the way they are right now, I mean, they're not worrying about last year or the year before. It is about this team. The team is different this year, and they're building and focusing on the successes right now as opposed to issues they've had in the past. This is how it sounded last night.
Have had times maybe in years past where you get a lead, the other team responds, and maybe the way you handle it hasn't been the way you'd like. What do you think it is about when that happens? Because twice tonight, 2 goals became 1, but you guys seem to really weather it well, and you have weathered it well over this stretch.
I don't know if I agree with we don't handle most of those games well. In previous years? Let's not talk about previous years. Come on.
Is that like this team matured? Rick talked this morning that maybe there's a maturity that's going on here with the way you guys can handle those situations.
You know, I think you could speculate anything, really. I like to think year by year, and this year is completely different than last year. You know, I believe in the guys in here, and you know, it's hockey. Hockey's can go back and forth. That's why fans come and watch. You know, that's exciting. That's why we love to play.
Safe to say you're comfortable in those tight, low-scoring games because you've had a lot of them lately.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's what a good playoff team is made of. Those are the games that you get yourself into quite a bit if you're a contending team.
Reem, this dude is just in the zone right now, both in the net and in front of the microphone. Like when Hellebuck's feeling it, he is the most fun guy to listen to. And, you know, I mean, I can't say enough about the way he's bounced back from, you know, an un-Hellebuckian start. But it's not like we have to single him out as the reason why the Jets won last night. It was really a team win with so many contributions up and down the lineup.
Yeah, I'm actually curious what like the team's record is when the fourth line gets over 10 minutes, or how often does that even happen? Because it seems rare. And you're looking at, talking about Hellebuck's slow start. Like, you look at total goals saved above expected. Hellebuck now top 10 in the NHL. He's 9th. You look at his numbers on the season. What was it, like 2 weeks ago? His save percentage was below 900. Like, his numbers are looking like his numbers from last year. 914 save percentage last year was 920, and he's got a 247 goals against last year, 249. So Hellebuck on pace to get some, I think, Vezina nominations or Vezina trophy votes when the season's all said and done. But he's looking very good, and when Hellebuck's on, the Jets can certainly beat anyone, especially if they're forwards. You're getting 4 lines of contribution, and like they did last night.
Well, not to Barry Horowitz myself too much, but I do believe it was November 13th that Connor Hellebuck went into the game, or November 14th, I guess, against the Jersey Devils with like an 897 save percentage. And I said that this would be the last time we see his save percentage start with an 8 at any point this season. And then you look at the run, that he's been on since then, and the team overall. They started that 5-game winning streak. They lost 3 in a row, but again, it wasn't like they were giving up a ton of goals. And now right back on another 3-game heater heading into Anaheim. There was a big milestone for Hellebuck last night, 250 career wins, all as a Winnipeg Jet. He had a quick comment on that as well.
Wow. I mean, that's awesome and everything. I think 300 is the milestone that they have written in. That's kind of a big deal, and 40 shutouts and 500 games played. So I think those will mean a little bit more than most. But yeah, it's awesome.
All-time Hellebuck quote. Oh, 250, nice. Well, it's this, and this. I'm looking forward to those even more. I mean, you gotta love it.
Yeah, I was looking up the all-time goalie win leaders. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big enough goalie guy to be like, oh yeah, 500 starts, 300 wins. Those are the milestones. 40. Just rattled off those numbers. I wonder if he knew it was 250. If you get up to 300, you are in the top 40 all-time wins. A couple guys, Braden Holtby, Mike Smith at 299. So like 250. I mean, it's still in terms of all-time numbers, that's 64th all-time. Next up is Frank Brimzik at 252, Devin Dubnyk 253, and Hall of Famer Ken Dryden at 258. Probably, wow. I mean, look at these guys he's passing. Corey Crawford 260, J.S. Giguere, Felix Potvin. They're all in the 260s. So
you mentioned this, and I'm just sitting here thinking about Hellebuck, who's got a 7-year extension starting next year. Like, where might he be? And again, that's another conversation entirely. Where might he be if he plays out that entire run here in Winnipeg? I mean, we will be talking about one of the great careers. Certainly, I mean, I don't think there's anybody close right now with with the Winnipeg Jets in its NHL history. But listen, a huge part of this game, and as I say, in very good spirits afterwards. Listen, Ken's going to come up in just a second. Quickly, let's just get a couple clips here from Adam Lowry. He had that beautiful snipe at the end of the first period on a play made happen by David Gustafsson originally, and then Axel Jonsson-Fjällby. Lowry on the importance of getting that big goal and scoring first.
I think that's huge. I thought the fourth line was great all night. They were in on the forecheck. Gus had a bunch of chances, and it's one of those things. You're on the road, you ice the puck. They get a good matchup, but Gus bears down. He wins that draw. We battle the puck out, and there's 10 seconds left. Axe gets in on the forecheck, creates a turnover, and I thought we had played a really solid period. But to come in up 1-0, it's a different feeling than you battle hard and you're not rewarded. So I think you look at that, and then the start of the second period, KC comes out and scores. I think it was 32 seconds in, and before we know it, in the span of under 40 seconds, we're up 2-0, and kind of have started to take over the game. So it was a great contribution from them. I thought, not only that play, but throughout the night they had a really good night.
Big time game from the captain last night. Here's one more from Lowry on what getting that road win over Colorado says about the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, it's huge. I think we always talk about trying to be an elite team. We want to be considered one of the best in the conference, one of the best in the division. And, I think as we've come up through this year, our 2 games against Dallas, our 2 games against Vegas, our game against LA and the Rangers, we've come up short. And we talked about if you want to be in that conversation, you got to beat those elite teams. And, I thought we did a really good job. They obviously had some chances. They had some good zone time. And, you play against some of the world's best players, that's going to happen. But, I thought we did a really good job of managing pucks coming through the neutral zone, real close support, and generated a lot off the cycle, some really good sustained zone time for our group. So, I think, like you said, it starts the road trip off well. We've got a couple days to recover here and get ready for Anaheim.
All right, so there's Adam Lowry. We're going to chop it up with Ken in just a minute from the K&R office south of the border. Little Ohtani update. Alden Gonzalez reporting, pump the brakes. Nothing is done yet. I know some folks from Sportsnet as well saying just cool it, but the signs remain very positive for the Toronto Blue Jays, and reports out of L.A. That the deal is done. We will wait and see. Hey, just before we get to Wiebe, the weekend is here. The holidays are here. And our friends at Canada's favorite Canadian whiskey, Canadian Club, have a CC for every occasion, whether it's holiday gathering or gift giving. You are covered with Canadian Club. Great sales on CC all month long at Manitoba Liquor Marts, including original 100% rye and the CC Classic 12-year-old. And there's still quantity of the limited release 15-year-old Canadian Club Sherry cask still available from the Canadian Club Invitation Series. It's the signature CC Classic 12-year-old whiskey, finished with a secondary aging in Oloroso sherry casks, all the hallmarks of classic Canadian Club, with the added richness and sweetness of sherry. $79.99 wall supplies last on that, and you still might be able to find a bottle of the CC Chronicles 45-year-old for an extra special gift for that whiskey enthusiast in the family. We've got to give a big shout out to the gang at Manitoba Battery for their great support of Winnipeg Sports Talk. I know it's been gorgeous this week. We know that is coming to an end at some point soon. Get ready for winter and make sure your car or truck is ready to get through it as well with a battery from Manitoba Battery. If you have battery needs, you will get the best prices in town, period. Beating the pants off the big box stores and shopping local at the same time at Manitoba Battery. The best part about it is they'll deliver it to you for free anywhere inside the perimeter with any purchase over $60. It's just that easy. Get to manitobabattery.com to order. Give Donnie and the gang a call at 204-783-8787. And they'll take you through and make your order and get it out to you. Or if you do want a free battery test to see how you're looking for winter, or just pop in and see them in person, 1026 Logan Avenue for the gang at Manitoba Battery. Aquatech busy right now getting ready for 2024. And a very novel gift for maybe you and your family would be the gift of home improvement. Whole home renovations start with Aquatech. With thousands of renos as their foundation, Aquatech can upgrade any space in your home. If you're ready to enhance your kitchen, bathroom, or even add a man cave to your home, visit aqua-tech.ca to learn more about their whole home renovations, including financing options. And again, a big shout out to the gang at Modern Man Barber Shops. Had such a great November doing our Movember drive with them. And again, great success. Thanks to everyone that's helped out with that. And right now, they'll help you out with looking good for the holidays. Shout out to Cordell and Jess, who took good care of me earlier this week at Modern Man Pembina. Listen, there's 8 locations in Winnipeg, somewhere close to you. And they've got you covered, guys, with haircuts, beard shaping, shaves, color services, and more. Make an appointment and book your look via modernmanbarber.com. All right. Fienberg coming up from TO a little later on. We'll talk Ohtani watch and a little bit of John Rahm moving to live. Hacksaw up as well. Marbles. But coming off that big win against the Avs last night, we're going to stay with the Jets and welcome in Ken Wiebe, the Winnipeg Free Press, to WST. Today he joins us from one of the many K&R facilities south of the border. What's going on? How's your time been down there?
Huss, great to be with you on this glorious Friday. It's been tremendous. I know it's been an awesome weather week for our folks in Manitoba, and I'm happy to see that. But yeah, in Maricopa this week, been doing a little bit of golf. Caught up with a legend, Dennis Bayak. Had a great week with Dennis. Dennis and Bev got out and golfed with Dennis twice. Got out in the same course with him 3 times. Had him down for dinner here at the in-laws.
How are the Bayaks? Everyone will want to know, how's our pal Dennis doing? And of course, his lovely wife.
They are doing tremendous. Dennis gearing up for the farewell tour. There's Bev right there over at Southern Dunes Golf Club. Really fantastic day we had over there. Dennis gearing up for the.
Please pull those quickly. Just Dennis rocking the Jets alumni one, and that you're not buying that one at Jets Gear at Royal Sports, and Ken trying to not seem underdressed, rocking the green Masters polo, and again, you're not buying that one online either.
Team Titleist rocking that one too, but yeah, Dennis, they're doing awesome. They just got down here in November, so they're having a great time. Dennis getting ready for the World Junior Huss. It is the official farewell tour. We know he hung up the mic mostly off the Jets broadcast, but had been doing a couple World Championships. This will be the finale, the final calls in a legendary career, and I was just thrilled to be able to spend some time with Dennis, who, as you know, Huss, not only a mentor to me and many in this market, but just became a great friend over those 12 seasons, 11 seasons for him on the mic of the Winnipeg Jets since they returned. And yeah, just a tremendous stretch here. Huss, obviously watching very closely. We had a lot of activity on the ice this week as well. Mike McIntyre handling the bulk of it, and Josh Frey-Sam kicking in with a nice shift there and doing a story on the defenseman as we got an update on the Villy Watch. So yeah, no, it's been an interesting week. We know the Jets had a couple more big wins on the docket for them, including the one in Colorado. But yeah, really refreshing week. Huss, it's interesting. I mean, it hadn't been part of a 2-man beat in a while, back to the Athletic days. So when you're on a 2-man beat and a contract extension is signed when you've just finished the first hole, it's nice to not have to get in the car, drive to the car, and crack open the laptop. This way, Mike was able to handle everything on Monday. I got a couple quick tweets out, and then it was back to the glorious round at Longbow. So, yeah, beautiful. And thank you to Mike for that. Special thank you. I know you've had him on, but definitely appreciating his teamwork and team skills this week. That's for sure.
Listen, I'm sure you had to drag him kicking and screaming to get on the plane to go down to Anaheim, San Jose, and LA in the middle of December.
Exactly.
The gorgeous weather here notwithstanding. It has been glorious here, but hey, listen, it's been a huge week. I want to really focus in on the game and the rest of this road trip, but you mentioned Nino's extension. I mean, quickly, just thoughts on, it seems to be such a win for the Jets. Obviously, Nino wanted to stay here and he got his deal, but man, that 3-year term seems to just fit perfectly with where the roster projects young players coming in over the course of those next 3 seasons.
Yeah, no doubt, Huston. Just such a great mentor. I mean, we know Adam Lowry is going to be around as well, but Nino Niederreiter, just a chameleon, a guy that just fits in wherever you put him, and just such a hard worker. I mean, I love this quote he had to Mike McIntyre in the summer months when he said, "I have to earn my next contract." Like, here's a 7-time 20-goal scorer. Like, if you had a guy that walked into the interview and said, "Want to have a look at my resume? Here it is," that would be Nino Niederreiter, but that's not his style, Huss, right? I mean, and that's the beauty of him as a player. He's really evolving and becoming more, he's always been a physical guy, but I really loved what he's done with that third line with Adam. We shouldn't even call it the third line because they have the second most ice time most nights at 5-on-5. But man, that line's been fantastic. He's such a good leader, Huss. And as you mentioned, both the term and the dollar value, right? The AAV, I mean, if people want to look at historical context, I mean, this is similar to the Matty Perreault contract, Huss. And by the end of the contract, Matthew Perreault was playing on the fourth line a lot and still contributing there. But at $4 million in the cap rising, that number is not going to be a drag on the salary cap, especially as you mentioned, when guys like Rutger McGroarty, Colby Barlow, maybe Nikita Chibrikov, Brad Lambert, maybe Chaz Lucius, when let's say 2 to 4 of those guys are coming in, and maybe by the end of the contract, all 5 are here. Who knows? But yeah, it's just a great fit for both sides. He's fit so well here. And I mean, he's a guy who he has bounced around a bit. That's a fact. But always not because he wore his welcome at any of those spots. This is a guy who is a popular teammate. He's an incredibly hard worker and ultimately gets the job done. So a great piece of business for the Winnipeg Jets and also for Niederreiter. Huss, it reminds me of the Paul Stastny scenario where Paul came to Winnipeg after the trade from St. Louis. Many thought he'd have to take a haircut, and he got a raise. Now, Nino keeps his AAV, but he gets a 3-year term when it starts at 32. So, I mean, this is win-win all around. And, hey, if by the end of it, Nino Niederreiter is on the Jets' fourth line, Huss, guess what that means? The Jets have a pretty damn good fourth line.
Absolutely. We were, it's so funny how things can change in a week. Yeah. Like 2 weeks ago on the weekend, the Jets were tied with Dallas and Colorado in first place. You come home, you've got a couple of really tough games. You lose to Dallas. That Edmonton game was a heartbreaker the way it went. And our conversation last week at this very same time was, okay, well, they got Chicago in here. You just got to start it off. Fast forward to today. Laurent Brossoit with his best performance of the season on Monday night with a massive game for himself personally and the team. And then arguably the biggest win of the year going toe-to-toe against one of those top teams that the Winnipeg Jets know they have to beat if they want to be considered in the class of those top teams in the Central Division. And, man, a lot to chew on from just a massive 4-2 victory last night in Denver.
Yeah, no doubt, Huss. Just starting with Brossoit, I mean, I know that we went kind of back and forth on this and why it was important for him to start in Nashville. Huss, I don't think the start on Monday against Carolina happens if he doesn't play against Nashville. So, again, I don't want to lean on that too much, but I think that outside of the muffin that he let in, he was pretty good in that game, and it helped him allow that to kind of carry over into a really important game against, we know now the Hurricanes are scuffling. I mean, they lost had a really tough week, but he played great in that game. He really stabilized the Jets when they were trying to find their legs. We know they're a high volume team and everything else, but that was an important victory for him. He's going to get in, I think, on this road trip, whether I'm super curious, Huss, if they're going to do the reversal of fortune or not, right? You have you have the San Jose, LA back to back here. Do you consider flipping them? Do you try to make sure that
I think he plays against the Kings, to be honest.
Do? Okay.
I mean, listen, they have pretty much always gone with the Hellebuck in the first game, LB in the second game. And the only reason I think you would change that was if you were concerned about, one team is much better than the other, at least on paper. That being said, the Sharks have been winning games lately. They've taken a lot of numbers. But I have to say, coming out of that game against a strong team like Carolina, I think LB said and made a statement that I'll be good. Don't worry about who we're playing to go in. So if anything, I think the confidence that if they were wavering at all as to how much they could count on LB, he made a statement on Monday night, and I have a feeling they probably go as they have in the past with Hellebuck against the Ducks and Sharks, and then that final game, LB have a chance to go in or be a real difference maker to finish off a road trip in a winning note.
Yeah, Huss, I mean, for me, I follow the logic just fine, and I'm not saying I disagree, but just based on what Rick and all the players have been saying, if you're talking about beating elite teams, and even with Brossoit playing so great, I could easily see them wanting to go Hellebuck Wednesday against the Kings, and then also you also have the Avalanche coming right back in to start that next road trip. So, let's just say the spider senses are tingling a little bit. Certainly not going to put it on the old lead pipe lock on the lock shop, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do the flip flop here. But you're right. I mean, they don't normally do it, and that's if the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So it won't surprise me if they go that way, but it also, I have a little sneaky suspicion they may go for the flip-flop just because of what we've been talking about. The Jets have not been able to rack up many wins against those elite teams or division leaders. So I could see, and also with the spacing of the games, Huss, you got a little bit of a break here. If Hellebuck plays Tuesday in San Jose, then now you're not playing until Saturday again. So for me, I think they flip-flop it, but like I said, it's more of a spider sense tingling than anything that I know. Maybe it's just the warm weather here, maybe a little bit too much sunshine, but I think that's how they may go. But Huss, I mean, you talk about how well they played against the Avalanche. Boy, what an effort. And although Connor Hellebuck was excellent, he didn't have to be spectacular in terms of, 10 bellers here every single shift. Obviously, Nathan McKinnon was an absolute force and a dynamo in that game. But the Jets did an awesome job in structure in terms of not allowing that kind of shooting gallery that we've seen in past games. We've seen it a ton. Jets take a lead in the first, all of a sudden they get blowtorched in the second, and that did not happen. And I think the most important thing for me, of many things that happened in that game, the big stand. This was like a goal line stand for a PK that has been under siege this year. 47 seconds of two-man advantage or disadvantage time against Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, and Mikko Rantanen. I mean, we talked last week about how the Jets should have been a gimme against the Oilers, having almost 2 minutes worth of 5-on-3 time. With the Avalanche power play and all that weaponry, the fact that they were able to shut them down first on the 47 seconds and then on the back end of that kill was absolutely massive for a team that struggled shorthanded this year.
Well, listen, okay, let's get right to it, because I was kind of where I wanted to start with last night's game, and speaking specifically to special teams and the PK. And Ken, you know, overall this season, as the Jets have consistently been a very, very good 5-on-5 team, it was somewhat uncharacteristic, but early on in the season, a little bit of a slower start in the first couple of weeks for Connor Hellebuyck. But a PK that was top 10 last year was mired near the bottom. And at times the power play had been up and down. And I mean, think back to some of these other games where they've been challenging the top teams in the league. The game earlier this year against Vegas in Winnipeg. I mean, that was a game where I think you could absolutely say that at 5-on-5, the Jets were the better team. Well, both with the power play and the PK somewhat victimized them. They lose in regulation. The Dallas game back here a couple weeks ago, it wasn't necessarily the PK, but it was the fact that they did nothing in a very tight game with 2 5-on-3s. And Rick Bowness said that was the difference in the game. And you look at last night, I mean, killing off a 5-on-3, going perfect on the penalty kill against an Avalanche team that throws about as much at you as any team in the NHL. I mean, Connor Hellebuyck's in a groove right now, but man, did the guys that are out there at 4-on-5 have a huge hand in that win.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're blocking shots, getting in shot lanes, all of that. And apologies, nice pick me up for you as the teammate. Sorry, I think I said Oilers. I meant Stars, obviously, for that 5-on-3 extended time. But they did an excellent job. Their clears, we've been talking all year about the clears and being able to get it out of the zone, all of those things. And Huss, I wouldn't even say the penalty kill has been as bad as it looks as terms of the numbers. You know this. We've talked about this a ton. They've had tons of penalty killing situations where they kill off a minute 30, a minute 40, a minute 45, a minute 53, and then give up a late one. So it sort of is a bit of a deflator because you've been so good on the penalty kill at times, but then one breakdown happens and it's in the back of the net. That breakdown didn't happen. It was just excellent job all around. I think it was Lowry, Dillon, and Pionk, I want to say, or maybe no, sorry, DeMello. It was DeMello, Dillon, and Lowry at the front end of that 47 seconds. They were just all over the place, sticks and lanes, doing an excellent job. And yeah, I mean, just an impressive thing because it's an area we know the Jets want to get better at, need to get better at, and are determined to get better at. And, no better way to do that than to get a, kind of an energy boost like that one against the Avalanche, who have all that high flying firepower. So important job. But yeah, I mean, you talk about Hellebuyck. Like the classic Hellebuckian interview with the historical film. Somebody wants to talk about 250. He's like, yeah, it's a nice number, but like, let's talk about 300 wins, 40 shutouts, and 500 games. Okay. Why don't you come and get back to me when that happens? Like, I appreciate the shout out, a classic Hellebuyck line too. When he beat Barrasso for most wins by an American goaltender. Can't wait to see the banner up there. Like, just vintage Hellebuyck. But this was like so dismissive. He's like, 250, come back when we have 300, then I'll be happy to get into it.
Speaking of Hellebuyck after the game, the other thing that cracked me up, but also I thought it told us something. Mike was asking him about, like, whatever, sometimes you guys have gotten run over in this building by the team, or they get momentum and it's been tough to start. And he was like incredulous. Like, well, what are you talking about? And he's like, in previous years. I don't agree. And he asked, like, well, last year, what are we talking about previous years before? And then sort of emphasized how this team is different right now. This is, they're not worrying about the past, but they're trying to take advantage of the opportunities right now and live for this season, this moment. And I have to say, I mean, I don't think anyone benefits from dwelling on things that have happened in the past, but you have to learn from them. And in some ways, I think right from management to the coaching staff to a lot of the veteran players that have been around there, they've sort of learned some lessons over the years, but it is all about the now and the present right now. And that was a perfect example of it last night, led by 37.
Yeah, no doubt, Hudson. I mean, I would just say this in terms of, like, I've got no problem at all with Connor Hellebuyck having that approach, but you can be sure that Rick Bowness and the coaching staff is paying pretty darn close attention to what Mike was talking about, because they're trying to avoid some of those pitfalls. I mean, there's some deep-seated wounds that have been inflicted, especially by the Avalanche in the last couple of years. And yeah, I mean, if the Jets want to get past that, guess what? Best way to change the narrative is to change the narrative with play on the ice. And the Jets are doing a great job on those fronts, Huss. They have done a great job of turning the page. It's a new season. Everybody knows it. The attitude is different. The demeanor is different. They're more comfortable in these sorts of situations. And hey, I get it. There are still some skeptics out there, and those people are saying, well, hey, now, Jets were first place in the Central and the West in the middle of January, and it's only December 8th. So I get it. Like, there's a long road to the finish line here. There will be turbulence. There will be bumps. There will be bruises. But right now, the Jets are showing that they're playing a sustainable brand of hockey. Now, there are going to be injuries, there are going to be dry spells and everything else, but the way they've played 5-on-5, that is their foundation, Huss, and that is a foundation that all teams that want to go from good to great to elite, that's the foundation. And if they can get some of those other things going, Huss, to me, it's hilarious. We're, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks away from, I'm not going to say goaltender crisis, but folks were having legitimate concerns about, the Jets being a sub 900 save percentage for both guys and, goals against in the 3s and the 4s. And guess what? Connor Hellebuyck just threw together 8 quality starts. He's looking as locked in as ever. And Laurent Brossoit's numbers suddenly look like they were expected to look after one start. So it's trending in the right direction for them. I do think there's room for improvement. One of the few things, Rick, there haven't been, let's just put it this way. There have not been many times in Jets history where 3 of 4 lines get shouted out by the head coach after the game, and one of them doesn't include what should be the second line, right? So that's something they're still sort of looking for chemistry there. We got the hybrid going with Perfetti and Balharry sort of shifting between center. We saw Nino jump up for 2-3 shifts up onto that second line. It resulted directly into a goal, but then they went back to it the other way in the third, but more because they love what Nino Niederreiter has done with the Lowry line, and the Lowry line was playing a lot because Nathan McKinnon was up over the boards what seemed to be every second shift. So there is still some room for improvement, but that's natural for any team 25 games through the year. I don't see it as a problem. I think Velarde will continue to get better and better and better, and I think Perfetti will get comfortable. We expect Vladislav Nemestikov to be skating at some point, maybe on Saturday or Sunday. But overall, they're doing a great job. And we've been talking for a long time, and I just think it's important that I mention the name Josh Morrissey because we've gone too far in this conversation without mentioning how solid Josh has been. And this, for me, was a bit of a statement game for him. I don't think he would say it publicly because he's more of a private kind of guy when it comes to motivation, and the team is always first. But at a time where a lot of people around the league, I'm not saying have forgotten about Josh Morrissey as being a candidate in the Norris Trophy discussion. He went head-to-head with one of his buddies who's got his name on that trophy that he wants to be on at one point, and had a pretty darn impressive effort with a goal and an assist, on for all 4 goals, on for none against. Just an impressive game by a guy who's having a great season on the back end.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Monster game from Morrissey, and the play that he made to keep that puck in, rip it around, that led to the Kyle Connor goal. Just an example of the awareness, execution, and then of course the shot to put the Jets up with that goal later on. A huge part of it. You know who else we haven't talked about, and you'll get a kick out of this. So I popped by to see the IC gang and everyone at BP last night at BP Taylor. Great time, by the way. Shout out to the IC crew. So I got there a little late. If you've ever been at BP, they do like a pick a player contest where they've got all the Jets and you grab whatever player, and then if that guy scores, you spin the wheel or win cactus cuts or wings or something like that. So I got to the table, and the two goalies were there, guys that weren't dressed, and there was one player left, and it was our guy, the Gus Bus. So I'm sitting there looking at that, and my God, Ken, he had 3 glorious chances last night. Now, he didn't score, but Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, what a game he had, and a monster play for the Adam Lowry goal. Gus was everywhere. We heard Rick Bowness very correctly, I think, sing the praises of that fourth line, and that's something that we've kind of gone back to about the depth of this club. But you can't talk about that win and what a team win it is, I think, without talking about how effective those guys were, and to use Rick's point in his post-game scrum, how much they deserve to be out there in the third period.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Huss. An impressive showing, and it's funny, a couple tweets fired over my way last night. Any room left on the Gus Bus, right? It's gone from healthy scratch to being back.
All aboard.
All aboard. Choo-choo, exactly. Couple one-timers. I think he's been – the one thing we've talked about a lot since training camp, Huss, changed his training regimen a little bit. He's moving better out there. I mean, the one thing – Gustin always had great hockey, hockey IQ, hockey sense, whatever term you want to use. But the pace is the one thing he had to get up and get going, and he's got his pace up. And, I mean, Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, you want to talk about pace, Huss? I mean, getting down the ice and putting the pressure on Devon Toews, one of the best defensemen in the league. You know, in a normal scenario, Toews just wheels around the net and the period's over, like the curtains, right? I mean, there's nothing, there's no scoring chance, there's no nothing. But Gustafsson wins the draw in the D zone, goes for the line change. Lowry comes on. Jonsson-Fjällby with some incredible speed burst, a nice job of pressuring. And I'm not sure if Toews thought someone was calling for a reverse, but it was just a bit of a brain cramp by Toews, but all created by the speed. Then a nice pass by Jonsson-Fjällby to find Lowry. Great finish. And there's a goal where, in a period where the Jets really felt good about themselves, can feel even better because they kind of dropped the dagger on with 2.2 seconds to go. And then Kyle Connor scores in the opening 32 seconds. And all of a sudden, like I said, we mentioned Dennis Bayak earlier, the Jets had a bang that was interrupted by an intermission, but all of a sudden they're feeling great about their effort. And yeah, the fourth line was awesome. I mean, there won't be many nights when the fourth line is at 12 or 13 minutes and they're right around, some of the guys on that second line. So, but that is more a testament to what the fourth line did, and they're deserving, Huss. And we've talked about this a ton. If the Jets want to be playing in May and June, they need their fourth line to be in double digits in minutes. Doesn't have to be every night, but it needs to be around 10. But you need to have the ability to play them 12 to 13 in a game where you really need them. And this wasn't a blowout game against the Chicago Blackhawks where they played 12 or 13 minutes. They won their battles against, fine. The Avalanche were missing a few players. No big deal. They won their matchups that they had, and that was an impressive thing to see for sure. And if we're going to talk about competition's on the back end as well.
Well, let's get to that right off the bat. Listen, before we talk about the big scenario overall and get your thoughts on, where this goes, specifically, let's talk about Logan Stanley. Came in as part of 7 defensemen on Monday, and it was somewhat surprising. You look afterwards, and he played more than Sandberg, albeit by a second, but was out for, I think, about 2.5 more minutes at even strength. In as one of only 6 defensemen on the weekend in the game yesterday, and even some pretty strong critics of Logan Stanley early on after that first period said that might be the best period that we've seen from Stan. Now, listen, he did get victimized by Nate McKinnon. I'm not sure there's many defensemen in the NHL that aren't probably in the same spot, but I thought rebounded pretty well and, again, played significant minutes in that third period. I mean, just thoughts first off on what you've seen from Stan this week, but particularly last night in one of the biggest challenges you can get as a defenseman playing in that third pairing on the road, knowing that your coach doesn't have the last change.
Yeah, Hassan, I'm just going to tell you something quickly. I mean, this is not neither to protect or bury Logan Stanley, but when I covered the Stanley Cup final with Sean in 2022 involving the Avalanche and the Tampa Bay Lightning, like Nathan McKinnon made Victor Hedman stand still or look like he was pretty flat-footed on occasion as well. And this is not a comparison of Stanley to Victor Hedman. It's just a reminder that I'm going to tell you right now, when the rhinoceros is coming at you at full speed and you are standing still or flat-footed, it's like the Roadrunner. It's a beep, beep right past you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're 5'8" or you're 6'7". McKinnon is going to be past you in a blink of an eye. And yeah, hey, that ends up on the highlight reel, and all of the people are, all of the, non-Stanley people are pointing the finger and saying, hey, that's why you can't play in the NHL. And hey, that's just not. And if that were the case, then he wouldn't have played after that. So Rick Bowness played him after that. Of course, nobody wants to end up on that highlight reel, but much like we talked about Dylan Samberg last week, Huss, there were a couple things. There was an icing. There was a turnover on the Bedard goal. You're able to flush that. And if you can flush that, that shows a level of maturity that is required. Now, I'm not here to bang on the table and say Logan Stanley has won the 6th job. I don't think anyone's won the 6th job. And I also don't think that Nate Schmidt has played poorly in the battle for the 6th job. But right now, if they're taking somebody out, right now Nate is the odd man out. So I think there's going to be, I'm not going to say a rotation, but it's tough for all three of those guys that are in it. And Huss, soon there'll be not soon, but relatively soon, there will be a 4th guy involved. So, I mean, I understand that, one of my former colleagues, Bruce Garriock, has mentioned Logan Stanley as a possible trade candidate. Teams are kicking the tires. And hey, here's the other thing. If you're one of the teams that's not a playoff team, of course you're going to have the ability to give a little bit more runway to a guy like Logan Stanley and find out what you have. I mean, the thing for the Jets, they're trying to be an elite team. So do they want to give him an extended run? Let's not forget, Huss. I mean, last year around this time, before the first injury to Logan Stanley's ankle, we were wondering if Rick Bowness saw a little bit of Jamie Alexiak in Logan Stanley. He was in the opening night lineup. He was in the rotation until he got hurt, and then things kind of got derailed. So we know that he has some of the confidence in the coaching staff. But as Logan pointed out to Paul Edmonds in the pregame interview yesterday, this coaching staff is still kind of mostly getting to know Logan Stanley. So it's not on the job training, but it's still a little bit of a proving ground for him. I didn't love the fact the Jets won 11-7 the other night because I thought it kind of penalized a guy in Declan Chisholm who was really good the game before. But at the same time, I understand it's not like he played great and had no mistakes and that you have to give him 15, 16 minutes. But I think they're in a tough spot in terms of trying to find enough minutes for all three of those guys for them to be effective and to show at their best. But Huss, what have we been talking about for 3 years? If the Jets are going to try to change their mix, Logan Stanley has the frame and the skill set in terms of being a guy that gets clears on the penalty kill that the Jets might be looking for when it comes to playoff hockey. Now, he needs to do it consistently. He needs to be a little bit more assertive and physical if he wants to grow into that. Let's kind of use the Ben Sherratt example. Like, he's not nearly as physical as Sherratt, but if you clear the front of the net, if you take care of your own end, if you are able to get exits at times, use your feet and use your stick to defend, well, that's a guy at 6'7" doing it and not a guy at 6 feet doing it. I'm not saying he's going to win the battle, but that has to be how Logan Stanley is approaching it. And again, in that interview with Paul Edmonds, he said, they pay me to kill penalties and be physical. So if you can do that on a regular basis, what were we talking about Vegas all year last year, Huss? Big, strong, physical defense core. So if you can, all the things we've been talking about, if the Jets are trying to get a defenseman, it's someone big and strong and can kill penalties, right? So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not saying he's going to win the battle, but he's definitely worked himself back into the battle. And Huss, after training camp, I wasn't sure that was going to be a possibility.
No, and listen, I'm with you as well. And, this is something we've talked about the last couple of days is, the glut on the blue line, what happens when Ville comes back. And the more I think about it, Ken, I don't think that they're going to be pushed into making a decision until they absolutely have to. Guys can get hurt. Guys can get up on the IR. I mean, there's lots of things that can happen before Ville Heinola gets back. And I really do think, let's just say, and I would imagine that the market for Logan Stanley right now, you're probably looking at a mid-round pick. I think from Kevin Cheveldayoff's perspective, they would far rather have Stanley, even if he's not in the lineup, to be your 7, your 8 guy, to be one of those guys that can go if you get to the playoffs, because this team obviously thinks that they can make some noise in the playoffs. And we all know, we've heard it from the guys in management for years, you need 10 deep if you want to go on a long Stanley Cup playoff run. And listen, the Jets obviously would love to get a big-time impact player in the top 4, preferably on the right side. but I don't think that they're going to be in a hurry to move any of these guys unless all of a sudden you're sitting there with 9 healthy defensemen and the situation begats making some sort of a move.
Yeah, no, I heard you during the week with a couple guys, including Scotty. So I certainly know where you're coming from, Huss. They're not. If they wanted to give him away for a draft, a high draft pick, they would have done it either last year at the deadline or at the draft or whatever. So I think, let's put it this way. I think one of the Jets' biggest fears is that Logan Stanley figures it out somewhere else. And yeah, I get it. There's a lot of sweat equity involved in where Logan Stanley's at. He's a first-round pick, but that's a fairly long time ago. And never mind cat or dog years, in NHL years, it's been a long time since 2016, right? So you understand where they're coming from on that front. And now there have been some glimpses again in the last couple of games. But Huss, we know this. For all those guys, it's about consistency. Now, I would say Nate Schmidt has been the most consistent of the bunch, but he's also the longest runway. So, we'll see. The Jets know what they have with Nate Schmidt, Huss. I think you were also talking about this early in the week. So that should be a check mark in the positive box. But it seems to be the Jets are wondering if another, piece of the composition would allow them to do more down the line if they can find, whether that's Declan Chisholm, whether that's Logan Stanley, whether that's Ville Heinola. So Nate is an incredible pro. Of course, if he's handling the situation well, but here's the thing. If you weren't disappointed about not playing, you wouldn't be in the NHL. You would never have made the NHL as an undrafted player. So he's going to be ready for his next opportunity. I think he will play in one of the games, whether it's against the Ducks or the Sharks, I don't know. But if you're Logan Stanley, the door is open now. Same as what we said last week about Declan Chisholm. After the door has been opened, now, are you going to leave it slightly ajar? Will it be slammed in your face, or will you kick it down? And that's basically where things are at for all 3 of those defensemen, and it'll be exactly where it's at for Ville Heinola once he gets finished with his time with the Manitoba Moose.
Yeah, I mean, listen, good problems to have. A lot of talented players that are looking to, earn their spot in the lineup, low injuries. A 3-game winning streak, and right back up near the top of the Central Division, knocking on the door of first place with Dallas and, of course, the division-leading Colorado Avalanche. Wiebe, I'm glad you had such a wonderful week down there. Back to work next week for you. We'll look forward to seeing you back in the peg, and, of course, follow the Jets. And, by the way, good luck to another. It's been a very festive week, and finishing it off strong at TCB with the K&R crew on Sunday night.
Yeah, maybe we'll see you down there, Huss. And glad everyone had great events. I know that I was keeping tabs online about your event, and the Illegal Curve folks had a big event last night. And the ticket sales have been fantastic. We know we're moving to the big room show. We used, last year we did our 4 shows in the small room upstairs, which was nice. It was intimate, but it's a great crowd so far. But certainly room, just like on the Gus bus, there's room for a few more folks to hop on if you can make it on Sunday. That information's available at Kenny and Rennie live show on Eventbrite if you search that and search TCB. So I'd love to see a few more folks there. And Huss, maybe we'll see you there Sunday as well, my man. Have a great week ahead.
Right on. Have an awesome weekend. Travel safe, and we'll catch you back in the peg, Kenny. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. And it was a successful end to the 2023 portion of the Manitoba Golf Tour, 4 rounds in 4 days, including a tidy 82 at Ken McDonald. So
the Manitoba Golf Tour. This is like when the PGA Tour Canada teeing it up in Puerto Rico this weekend.
Exactly, but it was awesome, man. Have a great weekend. Great to see you, and take care, my man. Cheers.
Thanks, dude. All right, great stuff with Wiebe. Don't forget, Jets finish up this road trip with 3 and 4, beginning on Sunday against the Quack Attack, and then back at home to play the Avalanche on Saturday, starting off a 4-game homestand with Montreal, Detroit, and Boston. 3 original 6 teams on the week heading into Christmas. Tickets available right now at winnipegjets.com. And, of course, lots of those 48 jerseys moving as well, just in time for Christmas. A big thanks to our great partners at Vita Health Fresh Market. What a month we had with that great giveaway with Prairie Naturals for Men's Health Month. Guys, men's health is important 12 months a year, and Vita Health is the place to help you with great prices on natural and organic supplements, beauty products, and groceries. Of course, Prairie Naturals is Canada's #1 line of men's health supplements formulated to help the changing needs of a man's body, helping males address the challenges with prostate health, andropause, low libido, low testosterone, stress, male energy, and performance. You can pick them up at Vita Health. And of course, you'll also be supporting a great local company, family owned and operated since 1936, with Winnipeg's largest assortment of local products too. Vita Health Fresh Market, empowering people to lead healthy lives, 6 Winnipeg locations, and online at myvita.ca. Wallace & Wallace, you know, they're the fencing experts in town. You've seen their fences and trucks all over the city, been the leaders in the industry since 1946. They're also the go-to people for overhead door sales and service in town. As the Clopay dealer in Manitoba. That overhead garage door of yours had lots of ups and downs this summer and fall, but it's about to work a whole lot harder this winter, because winter puts much more stress on a garage door. The right time to prevent downtime this winter is now. Call Wallace & Wallace to book your inspection and maintenance service. Call today for residential and commercial overhead door sales and service. There's only one name, or two, you need to know, and that is Wallace & Wallace. And just before we bring in Geoff Fienberg, don't forget F Apparel gift cards would make a great gift for that dude in the in your family or circle that might be looking to up their menswear game. F Apparel is the leaders in custom men's clothing at great prices, including custom suits beginning at $400, along with chinos, golf pants, custom shirts, both tucked and untucked styles, and an incredible selection of menswear accessories. Make sure to pop down and see them, and check out their website to make an appointment or find out more on gift cards for the upcoming holidays. They're at that's EPHapparel.com, and you can pop down and see them at 190 Smith Street downtown. All right, we've talked lots of Jets, and what a great win it was last night. The entire rest of the sporting discourse is around a couple of moves and a potential move involving Shohei Ohtani. And Leah loves talking golf and football, but I had to get Fienberg to jump on the program today. Geoff Fienberg, you can see him weekly with Pat and Tim on the Mayo Media Network, having some laughs and making picks and much more. And I know a card-carrying member of the Blue Jays Nation. Fienberg, how are you today? You refreshed Twitter once or twice?
Yeah, a lot today, Huss. I'll be honest, like a lot of Blue Jays fans, I feel like the trajectory to this moment was all kind of very similar for all of us. You sort of heard these rumblings a couple weeks ago, and your initial take, okay, that's great. Like, they're just going to come back to us to say they tried. They tried, and then the shills on the networks can say, well, you can't be mad at them. They tried. But we would never get to the table. Then we kept staying at the table. We didn't get kicked out of the party. Flying to Florida, taking a look at that state-of-the-art complex they built for a guy who just likes to hide and play baseball. A perfect little place for him. Then things get real, and odds. They're no real barometer. That's just a couple guys make a bet that know nothing can move an odd when odds books put these sorts of things out. So we never getting too excited. Won't allow ourselves to get excited. And then in the last 36 hours, there's been a change. We're getting excited. We're allowed to get excited. We're so excited that if it doesn't happen, it's almost like we're going to be such jilted brides after trying so hard to not let ourselves get excited in this moment. But all signs are pointing to what might be one of the biggest non-championship Olympic days in Canadian Toronto sports history, Hustler.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, if this happens, it is so far and away the biggest signing transaction, the biggest gain in Canadian sports history. The only transaction I can think that would even come close to comparing to it would be the Gretzky trade in '88. And that one was going from Canada to the United States. I mean, it's really hard to wrap your head around the significance of what Ohtani choosing Toronto and Canada in the landscape of Major League Baseball would mean for the team in the short term, for the team in the long term. And we can't forget who owns the Toronto Blue Jays and why whatever that number is on a contract, if they get it done, is money well spent because of the intangibles that comes with an international superstar all of a sudden becoming the face of baseball north of the border.
You sort of put put it all there, Huss. It does make sense in a lot of ways. It feels like a day. There's nothing really to compare it to. Is, and we are such, how do you put this? We're very fragile sports fans here in Toronto, here in Canada. Like, we always expect the worst, where no one sort of wants to come here, all that sort of stuff. But so this is just sort of a real trip, I guess. And if Rogers wants to spend the money, let's let him spend the money and all the other ways they can make this money back. I'm looking forward to going to a ballpark, Hustler, where the power alleys have advertisements, and I don't know what they mean. I'll learn what they mean, but where we can ditch that TD patch on our sleeve, and it's something new and beautiful. I'm ready to celebrate. Like, I bought a case of not even Sapporo, other Japanese beer today, Huss. I know I'm not in a great focus right now. I'm a little mad at myself. Remis behind the camera is like, that guy couldn't focus himself better. I apologize. It's been an exciting day. So I'm I'm fired up and ready to go.
Japanese beers on ice.
Yeah,
at Casa Fienberg.
Yeah, no, we're fired up. Second night of Hanukkah, like, that's what's being served if you want a beer. Like, that's what
happy Hanukkah, by the way. We had a great time with the IC
and
boys
if this goes sideways, like, I got a trunk full of Japanese beer that I'll drink in sadness, I guess, losing football bets on the weekend, Hustler. I mean, either way, the beer will get taken down, but yeah, I mean, you can't reach the Blue Jays to get tickets. I agreed about 6 weeks ago to take 10 games off a friend of mine who just got his grandfather's tickets. And I'm worried today, like I said, you renege on our deal. Like, I'll send my lawyer after.
It is. Well, I mean, I did see that Ticketmaster's taken all of the Jays home opener tickets off the site. And again, there's so much conjecture right now, but I did say someone talked to Ticketmaster. They were preparing for an event that could shut the system down. So take that for what it is worth.
No, I heard that they actually you won't be able to buy Jays tickets until Wednesday. Like, they are, like, it's almost going to be like a playoff on sale almost, Hustler. It's a real trip. Like, to think kids can grow up maybe with the Blue Jays being an international brand, like, that's what's about to happen here. Everyone talks about the renovations. They're building, like, these brand new, beautiful, like, lower level suites, like, I don't know, that are the thing to do when you're building new stadiums. To get into one of those, you'll probably have to sign, like, a lease that's 5 years longer than Ohtani's contract.
Yeah, today would be a great day to be in the sales department over at Rogers. And I made this comparison when we were talking about this a couple days ago. I don't think there's been a day in the last probably decade that I envied anybody that was in charge of selling radio and television, considering where all of that had been going. That's very different of Ohtani signs. You know that I am the president of the Kikuchi fan club.
Build him a statue, give him an extension.
Like,
that is the greatest signing in Blue Jays history, Hustler. That never happens. Ohtani doesn't have, like, a great Saturday night out on the town in Toronto when the Angels were in town the last couple summers. He's just holed up in his hotel room. If our boy, you say, isn't, and we're not even implying those were recruiting missions. Those were just two friends getting together. And whatever's happened there, maybe even Ohtani admiring our commitment to stick by you say, when the whole world thought we should just literally send him to the trash. I have no idea. But yeah, that is something. That is, I've got a friend, Huss, that has made the rumored restaurant in, like, inner Toronto circles where this 50-person dinner party is happening tonight. I got a buddy who made a reservation for 4 at 8:30 there. Now, he could be in a totally wrong, different restaurant, but he seems to think he's got the spot. And so, like, this is where we're at. And me and my other friends are like, you leave him alone. You don't go near him. Like, he likes his privacy. Just leave him alone. Do not scare him.
Well, the entire run around this. And yeah, here's the tweet. Yeah, source: Yusei Kikuchi reserves entire upscale sushi restaurant near Rogers Center for tonight. Reservation made for 50 plus people. Make of it what you will.
It's Christmas party season, Huss. Like,
well, it is.
Somebody probably got a call this morning being like, "Yes, sorry, we've got
bad news."
Yeah, bad news. Bad news. Rogers will make it up to you, but this is everybody. Like, I'm even of the belief that the Ben Nicholson Smith, Shai Davides, their tweets right now, Huss, are so coy. Like, nothing's official. They are literally, they're not MLB insiders in this moment. They are Rogers employees, and they have to do what is for the betterment of everybody. I believe. Like, it is all dog whistles got to be put away. Let the leaks come out of the Dodgers camp, and that makes sense. The team that comes in second place that loses, it makes sense that that's where the leaks are coming from. Their people are whispering, yeah, it's off. And if we're out, then it's obviously Toronto. But Shohei would not be flying here for a meet and greet. Like, this is to cross the I's, dot the T's. I've just mixed that up, but and
party with Kikuchi tonight.
Yeah, big party with Kikuchi, and it's beautiful. The weather here is gorgeous today, Hustler. It's supposed to be 10 degrees tomorrow. For all the naysayers, they're probably like, it's too cold there. You don't want to go there. It'll be maybe two of the nicest December days in memory as his halo is landing.
It is. Here's the flight tracker. Where are we at now? They are. It looks like they are just pushing into Wisconsin.
Better get over the Midwest, because if he lands in Chicago, we're gonna freak out.
Yeah, well, Chicago's a little more south. I think they'd have to go due east right now to get to Chicago. And again, they always say where they're going. I don't think you can just change where you're landing in the middle of a flight just because.
But like, Huss, I've got plenty of Blue Jays hats, but I've got I got a brand new fitted lined up in a cart just because I want it fresh. Like, I want that royal blue to pop. Like, I'm going to California in a couple weeks, and I want my royal blue to pop. Fresh blue royal blue, like fresh new royal blue. Like, I don't need a new Blue Jays hat, but why? It's like I want it.
There's going to be a lot of merch rolling out.
I would change cable providers to Rogers if the one that I do use, the other one, wasn't like 45 seconds ahead on live sports. Like, that's a bridge I just can't cross, but I'll make it up. I'll make it up to King Edward Rogers in other ways. I promise.
Well, the beers might be $35 a pop next year at the games, but people will be happy to buy those and drink them if it means Ohtani coming to the Blue Jays. You know, did you bet this at all?
No. Because I never got, I seen a friend of mine that's got like an 18-1, I think, at score bet. He must have just been hopeful at the very beginning.
Dude, I got 25-1 a week ago Monday.
What?
Yeah.
Good for you, Huss.
It dropped to 5-1 later on in the afternoon, and I gave it out in the lock shop, and a whole bunch of people hit it. I think very shortly after that, it's off.
See, like, once it got to the 5-1, where it was like me paying attention to it, it was sort of like my Jays fandom is the bet here. Like, I don't need you know what I mean? Like, at that number, my fandom is what's at stake here. Not any of that. It's remarkable. It's weird to think, like, does Toronto become, I'm like speaking in hyperbole, but does it become like an international summer weekend destination just to come watch this guy play baseball? Like, that's how special he is, right?
You know what? Toronto already has some of that. You know, the Caravana is a big attraction for a number of folks. I mean, a number of the things, but it changes exponentially with Ohtani here. I mean, you know, we always say that things are like, it's a bilingual country, or there's English and French. You're going to see a lot of Japanese around there with the amount of people that will come.
Come, bring your flag. Yeah, do it. All about, and like you said, the signage is probably going all the way out to Japan, Huss. It it is quite the time. And there are reports, like as this was happening, that there is a unicorn budget. Like they're not just signing Ohtani and being like, okay, like we're going to just go with what. By all accounts, there is a unicorn budget that is, if we do sign Ohtani, like what's the point of signing Ohtani if we're not going to try to just win the whole damn thing? Now you could argue winning Ohtani presents them with business things that, other than winning the whole damn thing, is could be advantageous. But there are reports that this will not, like that they will go. Like I imagine they would be very aggressive. Yeah, so we'll see, Huss.
I guess the one other thing that, could put a kink in it, I mean, there is reports. I mean, when you're talking about an investment of $500-600 million, you got to make sure of what you're getting. And I guess there will be physicals and those sort of things. We know that he won't pitch this year because of his surgery, but he'll be able to rake and then hopefully get back into the rotation, as, truly the only player to really do this since Babe Ruth. I mean, it is pretty stunning. Just, I mean, the fact that we're talking about this in such realistic possibilities and all signs showing that he will be going. Before we go, Fienberg, I've got to switch the topic quickly to Jon Rahm moving to LIV yesterday. We'd heard all these reports, and I was like, well, I'll believe it when I see it. And then I see him in a LIV Golf Letterman jacket on Fox News yesterday talking to Brett Baer. Sounded very different than the guy we've heard talking for the last number of years, especially about how the money wouldn't change him. Was this just too much for him to turn down? I mean, what's your reaction to Jon Rahm ditching the tour for LIV?
You sort of knew, Huss, these rumors have been building for a bit. Pardon?
I'm just looking at the jacket.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, for sure. The last couple of weeks, the rumors have been building, and we had seen Rahm in the past, Huss. Like, he would fight with an account with 1,000 followers who said, a LIV bot account saying he was going to LIV. So based on how we'd seen him act in the past when there were rumors, it almost felt like there's no way, like, this is a for sure. Like, there's no way he's not going. It's kind of really sad. I don't know what to make of it. It's a cluster expletive at this point in professional golf. And that's so disappointing. You know how much I love it. You know how much you love it. Now they're just begging me to just turn on CBS at 3:00 on Sunday, watch the final 9 holes and whatever. But yeah, it's so broken. And other than majors, which should be exciting, Huss, it feels like as fans, you've just got to pick what's important to you. And if that's like, I'm just going to bet, I bet every week, so every week's important to me, that's okay. But you got to just decide, like, what will make it important? Like, if only Tiger playing, okay. So for me, I've drawn that line, like, if Ludwig and Victor are playing in the same event, then that event is important to me. That is where my line is for 2024, but I'm incredibly disappointed. This is a huge deal. This is it. Like, this is the end. I mean it. Like,
it feels like it. It feels like it.
And the end. It's a niche sport. It's a niche sport. They all grossly overrated their value. Jon Rahm's obviously going to take this money, Huss, because there's no Tiger Woods off the golf course money that, like, yeah, Jon Rahm make a lot of sponsorship, but this is money that, he's going to do the same job. He gets to make this money. He still gets to play in the majors. I'm not blaming Jon Rahm, but it feels like this is a demarcation point where it's just over.
I mean, I really sort of feel the same way from a LIV perspective. And I'll say this, like, obviously there's issues with where the money comes, but that you could say that about so many other things at this point, especially in the world of sports. There's a lot of things I actually love about LIV. It's less stuffy. They can wear shorts. Like, it seems like a pretty fun atmosphere for the few people that actually care enough to go out to these events. And I actually do think that there's huge potential in the team concept, but I think it's promoted and marketed terribly. Like, even if you're watching a LIV event, you'll see their F1 style board of where the players are, like at the top of the leaderboard. And then you might see a couple times, like, what's happening in the team competition, but they never give you the context. Like, Answer's leading. why is his team in 5th? Like, they don't show you the guys that are playing terrible, that are 8 over. And then you've got things like, I mean, this trade yesterday, Taylor Gooch, the number 1 player for Matt Wolf, like, make that make sense. But how much can this move the needle for Liv? Like, does this change where they're at, or is this just another big money guy that maybe has a different profile? Is it obviously a different point in his career than most of the guys when they did make the move?
I believe that if they're not, they have to be on mainstream TV. Golf is like the 6 o'clock news to 90% of the people that watch golf. Like my dad, they know it's on Saturday and Sunday late in the day on NBC and CBS. Like, Live their events, you don't know when they are. Like, even if they have a schedule that tells you when they're going to play like 9 events in a year, they're so random, and when they're happening, people don't know when to tune in. And I love Jon Rahm. I think he's the best golfer in the world, but you're going to kind of be out of sight, out of mind outside of the majors. That's the one thing the PGA, I guess, has going for it is the TV slots.
You know, I'm still thinking about that trade yesterday. And if this was a legitimate sport or a legitimate league, all Range Goat fans would be calling for their GM Bubba Watson to be canned.
Yeah, 100%. Although, Huss, maybe this just means like Cantley and Xander are coming. Like, maybe he's just clearing out his roster to get more guys, because that's kind of what it feels like is going to happen. And even in some of Bubba's comments after the fact, I got to go behind the fourth wall with you and your listeners here on Winnipeg Sports Talk, because I see Hacksaw Hamilton in the waiting room. And as a lifelong Charger fan that grew up in Toronto, I would listen to XX 1090, XX1090.com, like on the radio all the time. I yearn for the days of those good old days, getting that Charger coverage, because it's hard to come by these days. So I don't know, just seeing Lee's face puts a smile on my face, Huss. And
Hacksaw is the best. I mean, we powered up for a big Friday show to go back to back with 2 of our favorites here. Hey, quickly, how are you feeling about that game? You had the big 6-0 win in Foxborough last week. And I'll tell you what, a win against the Broncos, who were just 1 game ahead, would make things quite interesting, especially in an incredibly wide open race for those 3 wildcard spots.
Yeah, like the fan in me thinks, beat the Broncos, beat the Raiders on Thursday. You're 7-7. You're sort of right back in it. Hustler, the Chargers, they only beat backup quarterbacks. They beat Kirk Cousins, and the Vikings had 2 goal-to-go situations with less than like 4 minutes left in that game, a tipped interception. Other than that, they beat O'Connell, Zach Wilson, Zappy. I'm forgetting someone. That's how sad the season has been for the Chargers. So they only beat backups, and depends what you think of Russell Wilson, and that'll sort of make your case on how the Chargers can do.
He's going to be good. Hey, regardless of what happens with both of our football teams, I think let's fingers crossed that this gets to the finish line here, and the focus can be on Ohtani and the Blue Jays. Hey, thanks a lot for jumping on today. Always great to have you, and we'll hit you up on the weekend. Good luck in the game against Denver, and we'll talk to you next week.
All the best.
Right on. There's Geoff Fienberg at GFienberg17 on Twitter, folks. And of course, you can check out Geoff along with Pat Mayo, Tim Anderson on the always entertaining Mayo Media Network. Well, Geoff is correct. The Hacksaw is just ready to go. Before we do that, a big thanks to Princess Auto, proud sponsors of WST, and of course the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And with the holiday season here, you might want to get down to Princess Auto and find the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new is at Princess Auto. 2 locations in Winnipeg, Panet Road and Portage Avenue West. And you can always shop online 24/7, 365 at princessauto.com. Speaking of the holidays, Royal Sports will be a busy place this weekend and right up to December 25th, because, of course, that's where you want to be efficient, gang. Get to Royal and take care of pretty much all of your Christmas shopping for the sports fan in the family. A massive Winnipeg Jets selection, bigger than you'll find anywhere else. All the jerseys, all the merch, all the gear, including many exclusives that you won't find anywhere else, in addition to Bombers, NFL, Major League Baseball, maybe a new blue 17 jersey, maybe might I suggest, international soccer, and of course, the biggest hockey selection in town as the hockey superstore for over 40 years. Get ready for the holidays at Royal Sports, 750 Pembina Highway, and make sure to follow them on Instagram for the latest merchandise drops, sale information, and great holiday gift ideas. And hey, as we mentioned right off the top, great night last night with the Illegal Curve crew down at Boston Pizza Taylor. Man, those wings are good. Crushed some wings, had a Boston Brute, a couple beers, and the weekend is here right now. We've got the Jets on Sunday night. But hey, what a great Sunday. You can watch the Cowboys and Eagles on one TV, Jets, Ducks on the other. When there's sports on, it's on at BP. Pop by your local location today. And hey, if you are staying at home, you can always get the great taste of Boston Pizza by ordering online at bostonpizza.com. All right, let's bring in Hacksaw right now. Hacksaw, how about that? One of your longest and biggest fans. Thrilled. Stopped him in his tracks when he saw Hacksaw enter into the room. What's going on?
Okay. Well, O Canada, that's great.
Hey, speaking of O Canada, and I know we'll touch on the NFL, but everyone here north of the border is on pins and needles right now with what is going on with Shohei Ohtani. You, of course, are down in Southern California. The Dodgers have been the favorites to land him from the get-go. What are you hearing, Lee, and what is the mood around SoCal right now, considering Ohtani's reportedly on a plane going to TO right now?
Hustler, it depends what area code you're in. If you're in area code 213, Dodger Stadium, you're probably really disappointed right now. If you're in 949, Orange County, you're really saddened right now. If you're in, obviously, Toronto, you're going crazy right now. But until they announce it, I just have to hold my breath because there's just so many responses from insiders around Major League Baseball that say not a done deal yet. Only time will tell. If he picked Toronto, it's probably got to do a lot with culture and community. Now, obviously, he's controlled every facet of his career. Very private person. The media out here covering the Angels were really disappointed. They got access to him one time a week, even though he played every day as a DH or when they gave him the ball to pitch on the mound. There's just very limited access to him. I understand privacy, but I also understand the club needs to market this generational, once-in-a-lifetime player, and he didn't really allow that to happen. And a lot of us in the media really disturbed about what transpired in Nashville at the winter baseball meetings, because that's really the glorious time for baseball fanatics following what's gone on with their favorite team, because it's a new year. Here's the trade deadline. Here's free agency. Here's the opening of all transactions in the Hot Stove League. And Ohtani and his agent, nowhere to be found, not allowed to, quote, talk about him. I just kind of think there's an intangible disservice to baseball, because baseball needs Ohtani, and they need the Ohtani headlines, and they need the flash and all that. So from a media standpoint, I'm just kind of really disappointed that it evolved the way it did.
Hey,
him going to Toronto, it's unbelievable. I mean, they've got a great batting order. Now, they're a little bit wafer thin in pitching. Obviously, Rogers has decided, the ownership has decided they're going to go through the roof with the budget and, luxury tax be damned. This will be fascinating. And he will be the Dominion-wide superstar. I mean, outside of Gretzky, all things Canada, Ohtani has to be right there with Gretzky in terms of interest from Nova Scotia to Vancouver and everywhere in between. So I think you're getting a great player as a DH the first year. We'll see if he's the same pitcher when he comes back for 2025, if it is indeed Toronto. And from the Dodgers standpoint, I'm a little bit stunned because the Dodgers historically, Hustler, have had a great ability and relationship to rehab pitchers coming off surgery and a phenomenal track record of how they dealt with guys who came from the Pacific Rim. Whether that's Kenta Maeda, Hyun-Jin Ryu, Hideo Nomo. I mean, it's just been a phenomenal run, what they've done internationally with players from over there. I would have thought Ohtani might have been locked in because there's such a phenomenal Japanese-American population that lives in Los Angeles, and our Dodger fans would become Dodger fans. But I think he chose culture, and I think he chose community. It's a little bit different in Canada than it would be at Dodger Stadium. I never, ever once thought he wanted to be in the glare of the spotlight in New York. So that's where we are at this hour at 12:45 West Coast time, waiting for the official announcement.
You know, Lee, I'm interested in your perspective on how this probably is going over in Rob Manfred's office and in Major League Baseball. I mean, on one hand, you have a team with a massive market that, you know, will have a huge surge in popularity and really be an international team. At the same time, having Ohtani leave the United States, I imagine maybe not be what their preference was when this whole thing started.
I don't know that Major League Baseball views it that way. What Major League Baseball should be viewing is we missed an opportunity here to market our game at the coolest time of the offseason, the winter baseball meetings. I've been in those lobbies. I've been in those hotels. I've been at all the individual meetings with different general managers in their hotel suites. It's cool. As a talk show host, you'd go crazy. But we missed this opportunity because the agent did not make himself available. The player has spoken to the media one time. He blew off when he won the MVP award. He blew off the Zoom call, did not meet with anybody. He's not met with anybody. I don't want to say since maybe August. That's too bad. But I don't think baseball says, geez, he's going to Toronto rather than Dodger Stadium or somewhere else. I think it's good for baseball. And you tell me, you're one of them. You're across the border. This guy now equal, if this happens, is he equal in Dominion-wide popularity to what 99 was up in Edmonton? Gretzky?
Well, I think that might be a stretch right off the bat just because of his time. But I will say this: it'll be by far the biggest the biggest signing in Canadian sports history, and the only transaction I think you could possibly compare it to would be the Gretzky trade in '88. And of course, that was the other way. That was Wayne Gretzky leaving Canada and going to Los Angeles. So in almost a reverse way, this would be the version of the Gretzky move for baseball. And Remis just sent me this. Apparently, Sportsnet, which does the Blue Jays games, which is owned by Rogers, who owns the Blue Jays, have just made a programming change on their all sports radio station and television. Blair and Barker, the Jays guys, are going to be on at 5 p.m. The change, I'm just reading this, change as of a minute ago. If you're Rogers and you're signing Shohei tonight, you would want your baseball analyst breaking the story on air. So do with that what you will, Blue Jay fans, right now. Lee,
hey, let me interject one final comment on Ohtani before we move on to the other topics on the table. I've been on the Angels flagship station, and they asked me my perspective because I've been writing about this and covering this for an extended period. And they asked me kind of a unique question. If you were an Angel fan, how would you respond? If I were an Angel fan, I would say thank you. He gave them 6 years of greatness. Generational player we may never, ever see again in Major League Baseball. And keep this in mind. He went to Anaheim at a cut rate price. He took a very different contract in signing with Artie Moreno than the amount of money he could have made when he came here from other places that had offered. So I'm not, I tell Angel fan, don't be bitter. Say thank you. It's sad it didn't work. It's sad that they hadn't made the playoffs in so many years, that they lost the opportunity with him, and it kind of wasted Mike Trout's career. And the franchise has been beset by so many problems, from injuries to player deaths to this most recent drug scandal. But Halo fans should say thank you for what Ohtani was, because he gave them things we'll probably never ever see again.
Does Mike Trout stick around in Anaheim after all of this?
That's a really interesting question. But at the end of the season, 1st of October, he pledged allegiance to the Halos. He says, I have a no-trade clause in my contract. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay here, which is unique because he's from New Jersey. I mean, could you imagine Mike Trout, center field, Citi Field with the Mets, Mike Trout, Philadelphia? Now he's making mega money, but he said, no, I'm here. So it'll be fascinating to see post-Ohtani, because they're going to have more money to use, how they distribute their money, because they surely need players, and they surely need good luck. They've had so many problems with injuries and just tragedies and just a lot of bad situations there. So we'll see what tomorrow morning brings.
Hacksaw, let's take a quick look at the NFL on the weekend. And I mean, yesterday, first off, crazy game between, the Pittsburgh Steelers had this miracle season where they were winning games in all different ways. They're 7-4. back-to-back home losses to the 2-win Arizona Cardinals, the 2-win New England Patriots, and they don't have Kenny Pickett. Mitch Trubisky was in there. Mike Tomlin was probably up for Coach of the Year, but man, have their tides turned over the last little bit, and I'm not even sure Belichick and the Patriots wanted to win that game, but Bailey Zappi, playing for his career, went out there and looked as good as any quarterback for the Patriots had pretty much at any point this season.
Well, in terms of New England, first of all, everybody's unhappy. They're unhappy in Pittsburgh. They're really peeved at Tomlin and the organization. And obviously, they're really unhappy. 3-10 New England. Belichick, as I think I said last week, Belichick, the general manager, has really let Belichick, the coach, down in terms of player personnel acquisitions. And there's another question. Bailey Zappi. Some people are writing in Boston and in the columnists there. Why do we have to wait till now to find out how good he could be? Well, it was against the Steelers. Bailey Zappi hasn't played great football in the cameo appearances he's made. So they're really unhappy across the board with everything that Patriot football has become. And in terms of Tomlin, the people are starting to bark. Because Mike's been there, I think, 13 years, has never had a losing season. I think he's done a phenomenal job coaching, guiding, and just running the operation. But they've won 3 playoff games in 13 years. And that included a whole chunk of time with Roethlisberger. So Tomlin's starting to take a lot of heat, but there's no coaching change coming in Pittsburgh because that is not the way the Rooneys do business. So, yeah, New England beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's got the siege of injuries, especially at quarterback. It's just not the same team it used to be in the Roethlisberger era, but the New England win doesn't mean bleep. By the way, maybe you cost yourself a couple of slots in the NFL draft in the first round, too. So, yeah, everybody's unhappy in Pittsburgh and in the state of New England.
By the way, gang, marble registration is open. ! Marbles in the chat. We'll get to that after we finish up with Hacksaw. Lee, one of the Monday Nighter was incredible. The Bengals coming off the mat without Joe Burrow and beating the Jags, and of course injuring Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars are in Cleveland to take on the Browns. Who would have thought that we'd have Joe Flacco playing for Cleveland and maybe CJ Beathard, although I did see Lawrence going through some motions in practice and potentially trying to go. Just thoughts on that Jags-Browns situation, and should we expect Trevor Lawrence? And if not, what does that mean for Jacksonville?
I'd be really concerned if they tried to play him at 50% or 70% capacity, because it only takes one bad turn, one hit, and re-injures it more seriously.
Oh, yeah, and Myles Garrett's on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. The big picture could be obviously the postseason for the Jaguars. And if you sit Lawrence another week, you sit Lawrence for another week, and you give him a week to do more intensive rehab. And he's doing rehab 18 hours a day. So I'm not sure that I would play him at this point. Maybe you refine your offense a little bit, even if CJ Beathard has to be the quarterback. You got Etienne. Now they obviously have lost Christian Kirk, which is a significant setback at wide receiver. But Cleveland's a mess too, and the Browns' playoff hopes are in jeopardy. So yeah, battle of the backup quarterbacks. That'd be something if it's Beathard versus Flacco in a pretty important AFC game.
Yeah, no backups in this Chiefs-Bills tilt. Mahomes and Allen, they've played some classics in the past. A crucial game really for both teams. The Chiefs trying to stay in the mix for the number 1 seed in the AFC, and the Bills trying to just get back into a position where they can make the playoffs. The thoughts on that game, and also this bizarre story that broke yesterday about Sean McDermott citing like the 911 attackers as a well-organized group. Lee, I mean, that obviously didn't go well with many people.
Well, I found it was really distasteful. I got word that something had been written earlier in the morning, and it took me a while to search it out, and I read it, and I found it, and I was really bothered by it. I know coaches hit hot buttons to try to get their players to respond, but for Sean McDermott, an intellectual guy, to use the Saudi hijackers, the 9/11 tragedy, which I think if I mention it, my heart aches, for him to use that as an example of camaraderie and communication and teamwork, that to me is so far off the charts. I thought it was a terrible thing for him to say. And granted, he apologized, but that story sat out there and finally was uncovered, because this happened a couple of years ago. I think he should be fined. I don't know if the Bills should fine him or whether the NFL should fine him for conduct detrimental I mean, the NFL unloads on players who do weird things in end zones and players that blast referees. Well, this is different, but this is, to me, is so distasteful. I just kind of lost a little bit of respect for Sean McDermott. On the field, it's amazing. Buffalo's averaging 383 yards per game, and Buffalo's converting on 49% of their third down plays. And Buffalo is scuffling to be a wild card team, and yet they've got pretty decent defensive stats in terms of quarterback sacks and takeaways. Buffalo is just a weird enigma of a franchise right now. And in terms of where we go with Kansas City's got issues. They've turned it over 20 times. They're kind of wasting what's been kind of a banner defensive performance this season with the Chiefs. So I don't think McDermott's fighting for his job, but this is going to turn out to be disappointing. If these guys with all that firepower and all that talent don't make the playoffs, it has to be a totally reevaluation of how they're operating the franchise. So it'll be fascinating going forward to see.
Hey, what do you make of the Sunday nighter? Cowboys and Eagles. I thought the Cowboys should have beat the Eagles at the Link earlier this year, but they fell short. They've destroyed all these bad teams. Now they got to play a real good one. Does Dallas get them back on Sunday night?
No prisoners taken in this one. Now, Philadelphia's got something to prove. They've run this gauntlet. This group of games they've played in the last 3-4 weeks, it has been pretty tough. Maybe it's caught up to them. They got mugged. That body you found in the alley, yeah, that guy was wearing an Eagles shirt last week. They got killed by the 49ers. But they got Jalen Hurts, and he's got over 3,400 all-purpose yards and 31 touchdowns, and he's just making so many plays happen. And those two wide receivers are just going crazy. I think between them, they got 145 receptions and are averaging like 12 yards per catch. So Philadelphia is really vibrant on offense. And in terms of Dallas, Dak has had a resurrection. His quarterback rating is 108. How impressive is that? And CeeDee Lamb is averaging 13 yards per catch. And this is a team that's in rhythm and sync, playing well. I'll be intrigued to see whether Mike McCarthy is on the sidelines. He underwent this serious surgery for acute appendectomy, appendicitis. And he just got home yesterday, and he's been resting. He's not been at practice that I know of. So I don't know whether or not he'll actually be on the sidelines calling plays or maybe be in the press box, but he got sick, and that's a scary thing to have. He was a really sick dog when they rushed him to the hospital. So this is going to be a great game. There's no doubt about it. Dallas is for real. They've stayed free of injury. Offensive line has started virtually every game, and Dak is having a bounce-back season, and the receivers, it took them a third of the year in, and they finally come around. It's going to be a really, really good game. I still think San Francisco, Philadelphia are the elite in the NFC. Dallas just might be a half step behind, but the way you play, the day you play, any given Sunday, I guess anything can happen.
Hey, Hacksaw, just before we go, we don't talk a lot of college football up here, but I have to ask you about Florida State, 13-0, undefeated, Power 5 conference champion, on the outside looking in for the Final Four in the college football playoff. How does that make sense?
Well, it doesn't, except there were so many good teams when we got to the finish line. We effectively had 8 potential teams fighting for 4 positions. A year from this weekend, Hustler, the 12-team playoff moves in, and we wouldn't have this problem, but because they had only 4. But there's no doubt in my mind that in all honesty, Florida State's offense had just become anemic because of the loss of Travis Jordan. And they got to these postseason with a backup, a third-string freshman quarterback. They would have been in a world of hurt. They almost got beat the last 2 weekends of the season. Their defense obviously saved the day. Awful lot of barking. And then you got Georgia going for number 1, getting knocked right out of the college football pool from 1, dropping all the way down. You had Ohio State there on the periphery. Obviously, you had Alabama pulling off its upset, Texas getting red hot, winning a couple of real key road games. So it's too bad what happened to Florida State's kids, but they just, at this point in time, I don't think they can compete when we get to this Final Four. It's going to be fun. And the other story, tomorrow night, Saturday night, they release the winner of the Heisman Trophy. And I have a Heisman Trophy ballot, and I'll tell you what, thank God they put erasers on pencil. I had to change my train of thought over the last 4 weeks of the season. I went from one quarterback to the next quarterback, and then I got into the argument, do I consider the wide receiver from Ohio State who had a mystical season? How do you come to the finish line on this? So it's been a great season in college football here stateside. It's been a bad season. I've just gone to the funeral service for the Pac-12 conference as this thing goes away. And I hate to see it because the Pac-12 had a phenomenal year. It was a year of the quarterback. It was their farewell tour. I hate to see the Oregons and USCs, UCLAs leaving to go to other conferences. But it's been a mystical college football season. Playoffs are going to be a doozy. It's too bad it's not a 12-team playoff, but those are the rules we have. A year from tonight, the rules will be different.
No doubt about it. Well, Lee, a great conversation as always, hitting a whole bunch of topics. And I know that Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, you might need an extra, it's not just 15 minutes this weekend, maybe 20 or so. I can't wait to read and see what you've got for us once the Ohtani news is final, wherever he does end up, and obviously all that NFL stuff. But let people know where they can find not only the award-winning website, but all of your dalliances on Instagram and YouTube with the Hacksaw Pod.
Well, if you like sports, you're in Winnipeg, you're in Western Canada, just go to my website and log in. It's free. And you'll get alerts every time we put something on my website. I write every day on all sports. Yes, you're right. I am bleeping brilliant. But my podcast has been a little bit on hiatus because I had eye surgery and my co-host was traveling and we had connectivity problems. We hope to get our podcast back up online the middle of next week and get back to a normal schedule. But LeeHacksawHamilton.com. You can access all the stuff I wrote and check it every day and subscribe to get the alerts. And by the way, before I go out the door, full disclosure, because I've said a lot of things and I've worn some outfits that you didn't like. So I'm just letting you know I'm putting this on credit.
There it goes. The WST hoodie.
Okay.
Perfect segue
That's
into
hoodie.
marbles. Someone wants to win one of those, Lee.
It was in the closet. I said I got to wear this because I know next time I show up, if I wear something Maple Leaf or Edmonton Oiler, you won't be real happy. So I got some credit for what I did today.
Yeah, you will definitely, and you got that nice Jets one as well. And Jets are hot, 3 in a row, and heading out to California as well. You see them on Saturday night at the Duck Pond. Thanks for everything, Lee, as always.
Have a great sports weekend. Thanks, Hustler. Talk to you again.
You bet. All right, great stuff from Hacksaw. Looks like everyone's ready for marbles. And I see Surveyor Brett and Big Euchre here as well. Some of the EST crew. Love it, guys, if you haven't already. Exclamation mark marbles in the chat. You're going to see how we do it, how we kick off, how we end the week on Winnipeg Sports Talk with the world famous marble race. Great to see you all there. Great to see everyone with us. Wow, we're over 500 right now. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't. And like Surveyor Brett did, if you haven't already, hit the boys with the sub. Just hit the subscribe button, completely free. And if you're not able to join us live, the latest Winnipeg Sports Talk content will be in your YouTube feed when you do log on. All right, just before we get to quick Coolbet Lines and the marble race, big thanks to our great partners and friends at Little Brown Jug. The holiday party was a big hit. Had a great time on Wednesday night. Got a chance to try a whole bunch of those delicious Little Brown Jug beers. And this is a great time to get into the tap room ahead of the holidays because they've got a great deal right now where you get a mix and match of any of their 12 cans. And with the purchase of 12 beers, you get a $15 gift card to enjoy in the tap room. So take advantage of that. The holidays are here. Make it Winnipeg's favorite local beer, Little Brown Jug, down on William Avenue. And of course, you can pick up Little Brown Jug wherever they sell great beer. You can check out all that great merchandise down at LBJ as well. And also a big thanks to DQ Nick. Great to see him on Wednesday night. Appreciated all those delicious dilly bars and Buster bars you brought by for everyone at the end of the night. The holidays are here. Why not get a DQ ice cream cake for your next gathering? Hit them up on Insta at DQ Manitoba. Send a picture, get it customized however you want for a quick and easy pickup at either DQ Northgate or DQ Polo Park. And don't forget, they've also got the Pita Pit out in Niverville now with great catering options. If you're in Niverville, pop by for a pita. And if you do want catering, and they'll deliver it citywide as well, they're on X and Instagram at Pita Pit Niverville. All right, let's get Remo back in here. And Reem, great stuff from Fienberg and Hacksaw, and a huge show with all the excitement over the Jets, as well as the Ohtani watch as we track this flight all the way to Toronto.
Yeah, so many people in chat here today. We had, I think we got close to 600. We got that were 500 for the majority. So this is so awesome. And see the excitement, for the Jets win, big win against Colorado, but also Shohei Ohtani watch going wild. And
any updates while I was talking to Saw?
So this is actually the biggest update here, and I don't know what Sportsnet is doing with their programming on TV and radio, but they announced that Real Kuiper and Bourne, with Nick Kyprios and Justin Bourne, they're getting booted off TV and radio for Blair and Barker, a special Ohtani watch edition. So this is what they tweeted. I don't know why they felt they needed to change their programming. So at 4:00 Central, Jeff Blair and Kevin Barker are going to have a special Ohtani watch at 4 p.m. on Sportsnet.
Well, they're going to have a lot of viewers, I think, today. I will be doing it. Morosi has been on it. They said he's on his way to Toronto. Deal's not signed. But I guess it might be hard to sign a contract on a plane. So that might be what's happening tonight.
So is that his plane?
Thinking.
We had the plane. I was watching it over here. Oh, here's the plane. There it is.
You, Chaz, thanks for being a supporter of WST, buddy. Right on. Loyal lock shopper as well, Big Uke.
We got a couple new memberships here. Big Uke, Tristan Rivers Music, Joey Panku, FRNDC. And people are asking, I guess if you're in the chat, like, why are people's names green? $2 a month, you support the channel, you get your name in green. You get a microphone that tells everyone you're a supporter, and you also get exclusive emotes. A lot of people putting the Saw emote for
Hacksaw emote, absolutely.
For Hacksaw. So here's the plane, Huss. It's close to Toronto, man. It's pretty close. So it's scheduled to land at 3:30 Central Time.
And I think you might have been one of those individuals that was watching the lock shop when I dropped that 25-1 2 Mondays ago. There's going to be a lot of happy lock shoppers if this does come to fruition today. And as I said, I will be spending it on an Ohtani jersey and a Kikuchi jersey. Do not forget about Kikuchi's role in all of this if we do get to the finish line. All right, last call for marbles, everybody. ! Marbles. If you haven't already been able to get in, let's do a quick look at the Coolbet lines. We chopped it up today. We did talk a lot of Ohtani, but we did get our picks in for the week in the NFL. I think our partner parlay, which I don't believe is up just yet, is going to be the Rams plus 7.5 at Baltimore. We're going to tease the Lions to 2.5. So Detroit minus 2.5 at Chicago. And we're taking the Bengals on the money line. So that'll be probably in the plus 530 to 550 range, depending on the boost. So you can check that out in the exclusives. I love the Bengals this week. I think I'm going to take the Browns, and as I thought, this number is going to come down with the possibility that Trevor Lawrence will play. I'm still going to ride with Joe Flacco in that Cleveland defense. I like the Jets. Oh, and the Jets is now up to plus 4.5. We'll definitely take it. But the big games, Chiefs, just a 1-point favorite against the Buffalo Bills, minus 112 on the money line, Bills minus 104. And the other big matchup, Sunday Night Football, Dallas Cowboys, 3.5-point favorites over the Philadelphia Eagles, minus 192 on the money line and plus 162 for the Eagles. NBA in-season tournament final is on Saturday night. Pacers and the Lakers, LA, 4-point favorites. That is a neutral site game at the home of the Vegas Golden Knights, T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. Again, if you haven't played a Coolbet before, use the promo code WST when you're making your first deposit. Hook you up with a 100% bonus up to $200 on that first deposit. And you can check out today's lock shop at the Edmonton Sports Talk YouTube channel and subscribe to Lock Shop wherever you get your favorite pods. All right, Reem, I'm pumped for the Edmonton guys to be able to see our Marbles theme song and the festivities that are going. Did you work on a good course for today?
I went through, let me launch the game. I picked, people are saying I should pick a plane theme because we're following this plane, but I picked a winter theme or a holiday because a lot of holiday parties. We had ours. We went to the Illegal Curve gathering at Boston Pizza. Kenny and Rennie have theirs Sunday. it's a festive time of season. So I'm going with a winner, not Slippery Slopes, which we did. Was that last week, or was that was for the Linden jersey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Slippery Slopes we did for the Linden jersey. All right. Well, hey, for everyone that's new that hasn't seen this before we do marbles, one of our great supporters and a guy we saw the last couple nights, the one and only Tristan Rivers Music, has put together the incredible Marbles theme song. Now, he did multiple versions last year for the Marbles Tournament of Champions. And I always like when Remis plays one of them. I never know what we're going to get, but it is time to get ready for marbles, and that means Tristan Rivers Music first on WST. Let's fire it up.
It's Friday!
Right, the original Marble Race song. Love it. Great to see Tristan over the last couple nights as well. All right, Remo's going to get that set up. Rick Fair with the great chat. FYI, Geoff Blair is a high school buddy from Morden. Hustler Geoff got me hooked on the Raiders way back then. Hate the Chiefs probably as much as you hate the Raiders. Hey, that is the rivalry. There's no doubt. Raider week. That's what I get for Christmas this year, Rick. The Raiders at Arrowhead. I'm looking forward to that one, although, they actually looked a lot better after they kicked McDaniels to the curb and hired Antonio Pierce. There you have it. Here's John Morosi from 3 o'clock. Shohei Ohtani is en route to Toronto today. A representative of his agency, CAA, would not comment when asked about Ohtani's travel plans. At this hour, Ohtani does not have a signed agreement with any MLB team, but he's on the way to Toronto. We've been following the plane, and hopefully we'll find out something a little later on. And Geoff Blair, who Rick was just mentioning, going to be on with a special edition of Blair and Barker talking Blue Jays. I wonder why they're doing that. All right, Remo, let's fire it up. Big marble race, almost 500 in the chat. People are fired up.
Yeah, we got 260 entries. I'm just copying and pasting them in. And yeah, we played the original Marble Race theme, and I forgot how good it is. I had to take my headphones and shove them into my ears more so I could hear that sweet guitar. Crank that guitar. So that was pretty awesome. I actually had a great conversation with Tristan about his guitar collection yesterday, but I'm loading the names in, 260 names. It seems like a really big number.
Okay, we're giving Ohtani a marble.
Okay.
And we have to give Kikuchi a marble too.
Yeah.
For his role in bringing this all together. Sure. Anybody else?
Nino gets one.
Nino for his contract.
Yeah.
And Helly for his 250th win.
And Willie Jefferson, because he resigned
Willie
as
Jefferson, absolutely, for the new contract. All right, we'll throw 5 more in today. So it'll be one of the biggest marble races ever. When we're over 250, that is a big one. Are you rocking a soul patch, by the way?
No, I just haven't shaved, and this is like the pattern that it comes in. So yeah, I haven't shaved. That's just, it comes in thicker there, but I'm looking at myself. Yeah, I get it. I guess. Oh,
you know what? It's your boy Bruce. We got to give Christine Sinclair one too.
Okay, fine. I'll throw one in for Christine.
That's the last one.
Sure, done deal. So, I wish I had the patience for that, but it gets too itchy. So I don't. I think I can go a week without shaving, and then I'm like racing home to shave.
No, I hear that. All right, buckle up, and ESTers, get ready to have some fun. If you put in exclamation mark marbles, everybody's got a marble. That beautiful WST hoodie that Hacksaw was wearing, we've got one for the winner of today's race. So this is, what did you say? This is a holiday themed one?
It's called Snowy Flowing Holiday.
Woo. All right. New track.
I load it up here. I'll put you on the screen. One second.
Derek Schmidt. I was told Rima he would look good with the soul patch last week. I did say that. And
did you?
Lishka, yes, Remis could pull off the soul patch.
People are just telling me it looks good, so they get me to do it.
All right, let's do it. Snowy flowing holiday. Here we go, folks. A big crew in for the marble race today. So this is how it works for you newcomers. Got to be subscribed to win. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up while you're at it. Oh, 281. Nice. Let's get that to 300. Everyone's in. We started off. The first marble into the bin is the winner. And we'll hook that winner up with the WST hoodie, courtesy of our pals that did him up over at Shipham & Associates. All right. Ohtani's in, Kikuchi, Christine Sinclair, Willie J, Hellebuck, Nino, and all of you. May the best marble win. Drop them, Remo, and let's roll. New track here. The Snowy Flowing Holiday. Julian Labossiere and Gene Okerlund with a great start. Mean Gene looking good. Oh, and Julian just got popped. Mr. Hammerdance. Okay, Bardo and Julian. Oh, wait a second. Josh Conway.
Yeah, there's a jump here coming up. I guess Josh just got ahead of everyone.
Josh got blown out. We thought he was going to be done, and now he's there. Okay, Mean Gene. Oh, this is wild. Okay, Josh Conway is still in first place. Mean Gene's catching up a little bit. Alex Howe, Noxie, Uchaz in the top 10 right now. Wouldn't that be something? A win in his debut. Few people getting thrown over the top rope. Sorry about that. Kitty Pup right now looking like they're in first. Josh still looking good. We see Travis there. But yeah, there's Kitty Pup, Josh Conway, and Alex Howe on the bottom part. Travis, Peg City Dude, Ross Ransby, and all caps Kyle in the mix as well. Shorten's got some catching up to do. All right, so Kitty Pup looks like first. Oh, Stephen Klassen just got thrown over the top rope. Kitty Pup in the mix right now. This is a good one.
Yeah, there's a couple big jumps here, so this is leading into another big jump coming up.
Excellent. It's always fun. Daryl and Curtis just got top roped. What do we got here? Jeff Bowes, bye-bye. Josh Conway, Michael Smith III, Kitty Pup, all in the mix right now. And here we go for another big jump. Kitty Pup's first across. This is our group. Michael Smith. Who's
JGJC.
JGJC, all right.
Michael Smith just hit an obstacle there and fell.
And got bounced. All right. Well, Kitty Pup 1000. Looks like they're still in first place. Couple more casualties. Winnipeg Chaster. Oh, Ross over the top rope. No, Kabilis as well. Dunk Dynasty. Bye-bye.
Uchaz is gone.
Uchaz. Oh, you got to finish. Kitty Pup slowing down a little bit. There's a lot going on. Oh, there's Mark. Mark, a loyal lock shopper. All caps Kyle bounced. Sega, Surmaga. Is this the end right here, Reem?
Nope. They go to another. Oh, wait. Is that the end? Oh, I think it is actually.
Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Yeah, this is the end. Sorry.
Nino Niederreiter. Could it be Nino?
Nino
Niederreiter. Nino won. New contract. Big game win last night. And now his week just gets better as the winner of the marble race today. Man, an absolute who's who on the top 10 board today. Nino Niederreiter, Mark, And listen, I'm pumped for Mark. Mark, you're second. So if you don't, I don't think you have one yet. We'll hook you up with one, but we'll still also try and get Nino one. Mitch WHT, the Godfather himself. Sega Sermaga, 5th place. Sean Reynolds, brooding pessimism. Bullish Bradley in 6th. Chris Wolgamuth, Dark Moon. Candace Jane. Candace, nice top 10. And then See Leader. And there it is. Spelt wrong, but you know who it is. Nino.
Yeah.
Niederreiter. El Nino. He's turning everything around. Yeah, the Remo soul patch emoji. I'm with you on that. Everyone is fired up for Nino. That's awesome.
That was a keyboard malfunction. I know how to spell his name. I don't know why that second E isn't there. Just want to clarify.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to Nino. Congratulations to the Jets for winning 3 in a row. It kind of sucks that we got to wait all the way till Sunday night for this game. Would have been nicer if there was just sort of like every second night. But we'll be on Ohtani Watch this evening. Saturday, check out another Moose are on the road. And then a big Sunday. Chiefs, Bills at 3:25. Cowboys, Eagles, 7:20. Jets, Ducks, 7 o'clock. And, of course, the K&R gathering down at TCB. Huge show today, dude, to finish off a big week.
Yeah. Wow. This has been a fun week. Seems like everything we got something. We have Movember with the big final day of donations coming in. Raising money for the Christmas cheerboard as well. We got to tally that up from our holiday party. Raffled off some great prizes. And then the Jets, they were on a losing streak last week. We were kind of down. And people want to see the whole look. And they were kind of down. And this week, a new winning streak, 3 in a row. So a lot of excitement. And yes, Ohtani Watch. Apparently, we're not the only show bringing up the flight log. I think Overdrive guys said in chat they got it on too.
You just said that the plane. Speaking of jets, the plane has crossed into Canadian airspace.
Oh my God.
Here's the list if you want to see where you went. You say Kikuchi. He had a nice race. Just roll him down. You can go back afterwards on the YouTube and see exactly where you went up.
Mercedes-Benz downtown Calgary. How did they come into chat? Welcome.
Shout out Mercedes-Benz downtown Calgary. Love it. Scott Westman. There's Mary Jane. Mary Jane, great to see you on Wednesday. Thanks again for coming out. Surveyor Brett finished. He got what, 119?
Yeah, he did. I see Mary Jane was there, Tracy O, Rob Pepper, a lot of regulars. Todd Fertani. So yeah, this is awesome. Those is Connor Hellbuck, 135. Greg M, who's won a couple times, 138.
Brad Batters. There's Zach Wynn. I know Zach is one of the biggest Jays fans around. He is losing his mind right now. I can pretty much guarantee you of that. Bravo Brian, Willie J in 150, 152. There's Phyllis. The Bozeman. Bozeman comes in with not one of his more impressive performances, but Ross got top roped, so I believe that's a win for Shorn. They might be now 19-19 or 20-20 for their head-to-head matchup over the entire season. There's Retro Winnipeg. What's up, Jay? Great to see you last night as well, the last couple of nights. Keep her going down. Jet Oil Tom, another great supporter of all of the local Winnipeg shows. And right down T-Kona Pauly. Hey, he got across the finish line. May have took a little bit of time, but it was last. Hopefully, T-Kona Pauly's coming off the IR soon. We missed you on Wednesday.
Oh,
great show, everybody.
We have some Shohei news. I believe people are saying a press conference is at 5 o'clock our time. I got to find. That's my brother just texted me while I'm on the show. I trust him.
Okay.
Hold on. I saw other people tweeting it, but I want to get the actual source of this.
I just got a text from my pal Dom, who is a big time Jays fan. And he sent something ready for whichever direction Shohei Watch goes this evening. And there's a bottle of Dalwhinnie, a real high-end liquor, beside a bottle of Drano Max Gel. So depending on what happens, one of those bottles is going to be consumed tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if Adam Seaborn is reporting this. He seems to be the first one, but I trust him from Daily Faceoff.
Seaborn's got some good.
Yeah.
So he's got some very good intel.
So he says press conferences at 6 Eastern, so 5. So Adam Seaborn putting that out there.
Unbelievable. Well, we'll buckle up. We'll have lots to talk about next week. And man, it sure has made for a really fun show today. Thanks to Hacksaw. Great stuff with Fienberg. Ken Wiebe. And again, we were out of flight, so we had to talk to him a little earlier. And that's why he wanted so badly to get into all the Shohei news, but we were afraid that it would already be dated by the time we played it an hour and a half later. So Ken had to hold off, but we'll talk about it next week with Kenny as well. Huge thanks to all the sponsors that make this show happen each and every day. It was a great week for the Jets, and it sounds like it's going to be an even better start to the weekend for Blue Jays fans with a press conference reportedly for 5 p.m. Winnipeg time. And that's kind of when Blair and Barker were on. It all seems to be making sense right now, folks. One of the biggest, the biggest signing in Canadian sports history on the verge of happening by all accounts with Shohei Ohtani on his way to Toronto and in Canadian airspace right now. Needless to say, we'll have lots to talk about on Monday, including Jets and Ducks and a day off before back-to-back games Tuesday and Wednesday out on the West Coast with the Sharks and the Los Angeles Kings. In the meantime, though, have a great Friday and an awesome weekend. And we will see you Monday, 1 p.m., right after the lock shop here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Later, everybody.
Oh, my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.